Making your way in the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go watch a movie with PJ. Lord, and he's always glad you came. You wanna be where you could see our troubles are all the same. You wanna go and watch a movie with PJ.
I still don't know if I'm ever going to get over watching Chris Clark as Satan eating things. Happy Friday, everyone. I hope your quarantine is going well, as so many of the states seem to be opening up. And, be safe, wash your hands, put on a mask, don't be stupid. I'm PJ Campbell. It's good to have you guys here. I hope that everyone's, getting by as best they can. I'm excited. Tonight we are watching a film that I think is one of the most interesting sci-fi films of the last decade, and I have a very beautiful cast of characters to do that with, and that is Rian Johnson's Looper as Rian Johnson month. I totally was going to walk all over that. Continues. But, every time I'm here, this guy's here too. Hi, Evan.
I have to say, I feel like Chris Clark is slowly giving Brave the Storm a run for their money. We'll get to that in a second. I'm doing all right. It's Friday. It doesn't feel like a Friday, though. I feel like 2 days ago I walked downstairs. I'm like, it's Saturday. And then today I walked down the stairs. I'm like, it's Thursday. I just don't know anymore. So did I watch Looper before this? No. Is that okay? Probably not. Will I be confused? Most likely. But I'm excited.
It's a lot to take in, so you're probably going to be confused. I don't know if you'll be more confused than when you watch Brothers Bloom, but I think you're definitely going to be confused.
That's all right. But I do have to take us through some stuff.
Yes, you do.
Tuesday, I interviewed Rachel Silverstreamy on Famous Last Words. It was a really good time. We just talked about kind of her life touring, and we also got into how she got into the community. It's a pretty good interview. I had a really good time. I think she did as well. Obviously, we were watching Looper today. Suddenly, soundtracks, the top 10 villain songs. It was a great stream. People were popping in and out like it was nothing. It was a great time. That was Wednesday, I want to say. And then next Wednesday, Chris Clark is doing Singing in the Rain with Kristen Smith and Robert Meyer Burnett, which is going to be great because Singing in the Rain is a great musical.
And happy birthday to Robert Meyer Burnett, by the way. Today is his birthday.
I know, true. Shout out. There's some great pictures I've seen online, specifically of Chris and Robert, which, ironically, John Smith, the husband of Kristen, took of them. It's coming full circle. I don't like it. And then last but not least, I guess we didn't fill up the overlay, but that's fine. You have a new show with Max.
Yeah, who was unfortunately, he was supposed to be here tonight, and he is not here. But we are going to be doing a new Broadway podcast. It'll be every other week. It's going to alternate with Something Rotten, and it is going to be us talking to people in the Broadway community, talking about Broadway shows. I'm very excited. It's different content. It's new content. And this was his love child for a long time, Front Center Mezzanine. And I'm just excited to talk about all things going on in Broadway. Preston Max Allen is going to be our very first guest, and I could not be more excited.
That's really exciting. Last but not least, I think you know how excited I am for this. The Smash League starts tomorrow.
I just realized in the thumbnail I'm wearing the same shirt I'm wearing right now, and that's confusing. Sorry.
That is really messing with my head. But the Smash League starts tomorrow, and I'm really excited because I know Hogue, who is may or may not be here. You're part of this. Ralph Lenardic, Honest Babcock, Abby Friel, Chris Clark himself, Dwayne Burke. They're all part of this little experiment that I'm trying, kind of a community Smash League, and I'm really fucking excited for it. I'm so excited. I even wrote up 2 pages worth of documentation for you guys to look
I
over.
know. I was like reading right now. It's like not a comic book. There was no pictures. I was very disappointed.
I'm sorry. Pictures are hard. I'm not an artist.
Yeah, we know. But you know who is an artist? Our friend Pat Hogue, who got hacked earlier this week. We're happy to see you here, my friend.
I don't know who this Pat Hogue is. Hollywood superstar Bruce Willis. It's a pleasure to be here for this movie. I'm really proud of this one. Really gave it my all like I'm doing right now. Really put in all this emotion like I do with every movie in my career.
Okay. Well, it was really great to have you here, Bruce Willis. Bye. That was awkward. Is
You know,
Pat
you
Hogue
just-
here?
For that appearance that just cost $5 million. That's my quote. Every 30 seconds I'm on screen. $5 million.
That's unfortunate, but we're happy to have you here. But I'm also very happy.
Sorry, I blacked out.
You all right?
for,
You okay?
30 seconds. Yeah, no, it's been a rough week, PJ. I've
know.
had to, it's not the first time I've had to devolve into a different persona to ignore the atrocities of my own life. But we're here now. Yeah, my Facebook and Instagram account got hacked and thus deleted. We're not going to make this a sob story about me because Looper's awesome. But I did start a new Instagram account that has Hogue_filmmaker, which matches my Twitter. So I guess the universe works out, everybody. But yeah, if anyone's a lawyer and wants to defend me for no money, because I don't have any, that would be really nice. Yeah, excited to be here. I saw this movie twice opening weekend, and it's probably my favorite Rian Johnson movie. And anyone who says otherwise, it's weird that people can be objectively wrong, but we're gonna find out tonight if that's the case. Yeah, I'm excited for this one.
Well, I'm really excited because there's another person here who's not normally with us. And this is a man that I have had the pleasure of knowing in the community for a long time, who is now my roommate, and we do Movie House together, and that is Ryan Snelling. Hello, Ryan.
Hello. Hey, Evan. Take longer
Yeah.
doing an intro, Take longer.
Longer.
Please.
No,
Ryan, you're here for one episode.
Make some
Try
longer
being
music.
on all
make
of
a
them.
full record for me, Ryan.
I'm
There
working
could
on
be
it. Listen,
commentary
You're working
of
on it?
all the
Okay.
intros.
listen, thank you for referencing Brave the Storm, even though nobody knows what that is. I invited myself on to this episode because I love Rian Johnson, but Looper is one of my favorite things ever. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. If you are a fan of Movie House, we did our top 100 movies of the 2010s a few months back, and Looper was our number 13 movie of the 2010s.
Yes, it was.
I'm very passionate about this, so thank you for letting me on.
You're always allowed on, man. I like having you on because you and I have a lot of really great conversations about movies a lot, and this is one of your favorite films. It's one of my favorite films of the last decade, so I'm excited to talk about it. And two people from the land down under are also joining us, and that is Jacob Taylor.
China?
Oh, wow. Jacob Blunden and Taylor Robinson. It might as well be the one name, though. Hi, guys. How are you?
All right, let's just start there.
Okay.
It's been a
No,
week, okay? I'm sorry.
Dude, Pat, I completely understand. This week has been the week from hell for me personally. So I feel like we're all just...
Especially after I tried to kill you, apparently.
Yeah, I started it with food poisoning, and then
Ugh.
one of my grandparents got really sick, and then work yesterday was just a complete nightmare. So it's been one of those weeks that I'm trying to just not think about happening. So
Yeah.
I'm glad we have Looper here
I'm just going to
because
say that
that's
the chat's already popping off, and you've got people very excited that we're doing this. Some people thought it was Thursday. People are excited. Ryan's here all of a sudden.
What's funny?
Ryan Johnson?
Talking about the chat, we got a $5 donation coming out from Ferris again, saying, I remember walking to my uncle's house and he just had a Looper on for no reason. Me and my cousin sat on the couch and watched it with him. It was pretty weird considering my uncle doesn't watch movies. I feel like Looper is one of those movies that just happens to be on from time to time.
It feels
Yeah,
like
just
a
on the
TNT
TV.
movie. Yeah. But I'm excited, man. This is a good movie. Jacob, how are you?
I'm good. So we rewatched this. Well, I rewatched this for the first time, for the first time in years, just the other day because you had never seen it, and we're more intelligent than Evan, who was like, "Hey, let's not go into a Rian Johnson movie without having seen it."
That's
So
Who would do that?
Yeah. So,
Stupid.
so we actually sat down and watched it. I could be the one person on this panel who's like,
Ow,
I like it.
ow.
I don't love it.
Ow!
So,
Ow, my
this is gonna get
ears.
interesting.
Something's happening to my
Are we
head.
gonna-
I'm
are we
hearing
gonna turn
bad
this-
opinions.
Are we going to turn this into another I Hate Jacob chat like
Probably.
we did last time?
I mean, to be fair, most chats are I Hate Jacob chats. Let's
Never.
be very real.
So this could be, I'm actually, okay, so I'm very interested to hear your takes while we're watching it because I have my opinions and I'm really curious to listen to you guys explain why I'm wrong.
So
And that's
very
what
early
I'm
on, real quick, I'm very tempted throughout this entire commentary, this entire watch along, to support anything Jacob says, despite me actually having agreed with him. So
just look at Ferris over here. I don't hate Jacob.
Aw.
Just Ferris.
Listen, we're all like
This is why
very
you fail.
professional. We like to have discussions. We like to have good, productive conversations about films, and we're not going to put down other people's opinions. That being said,
I
anybody
don't
who
sign off on that.
No,
I don't sign off on
anybody who disagrees is a stupid butthole poop face, and I'm gonna be mad at them. I love this movie.
Mike K says he saves his I hate Jacobs just for the list shows.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm good at. That was the whole design of that show. But I'm very excited to rewatch this, especially after a week, and just see what my opinions changed in terms with having heard from you guys being like, no, this is why it's important.
There
Yeah,
are
it'll be
a
good.
lot of opinions I've heard over the years that I I understand, but I have responses to, just in terms of the ideology behind the movie. So I'm excited to dive into it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that said, then let's dive into it because it's about that time. Everyone should have their movie queued up at 000. I know I do. What we're going to do is we're going to count down from 5 to 0. As soon as I say go, you're going to hit play, and we're going to watch the movie with you and commentate it. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go.
So what if we watch the movie backwards?
This is
it's a
not Memento.
time travel movie.
Not Memento. Stop it.
I'm waiting for the day that we do one of these commentaries, and because I have the Australian disc, it's actually different. I'm waiting for the day that happens.
Where we just we're missing like a whole 5-minute chunk because it got
Yeah.
censored out or something.
Yeah.
Can we do?
No, even the logos, like that we have a different distributor
production
than you guys
companies
did,
and
yeah,
stuff,
or
yeah.
something.
Can we do the original Mad Max, where you guys get like the original audio, but we get like the really bad
The
dub?
original audio is on the Blu-ray now, bro. Get with the picture.
No, but what I'm saying is because they redubbed that movie, but with
No, I
American
know.
accents. Yeah,
I know.
we watched the American accent version.
No, but
watched-
Shout Factory has the original comment or the original audio on it.
Not debating, we can find it. I'm just saying we
Oh.
should watch the different versions.
Oh,
And just see how what
I
kind of
love
chaos
this watch.
ensues.
I want the watch.
Okay, contention number 1. I like the prosthetic makeup. I think if it was just Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he'd look too skinny to because Bruce Willis is a very built-out dude, and I like how this kind of it looks weird, but I like it.
Yeah,
I mean,
it looks weird as first, but like once you get used to it, there's only like a couple of shots I think in the movie that I think are actually the shot right before Bruce Willis appears on the tarp. I think it looks kind of weird. His eyebrows kind of look like caterpillars.
I never even thought about that.
I also don't really know how much I think he actually looks like Bruce Willis.
Yeah, I don't
you
either.
Bruce Willis's nose kind of has like a point at the bridge, and you can tell that. I know this is super, but you can tell that the bridge of his nose was purposefully exactly like Bruce Willis's. But other than that, it just looks like he doesn't look like Joe Levitt, which is fine.
But he
It's all
gets the
makeup,
energy
man.
and the voice down.
Yes.
Like he spent an entire summer listening to clips of different Bruce Willis movies,
Right.
to really learn the phonetic way of
And he got that
impersonating him.
down for
Yeah.
So, this is something that I have an issue with this movie. I don't like the voiceover. I
love it.
really don't like the voiceover. It's not something that works for me, and I don't. It just doesn't. It's too. It's too expository.
I
I'm
think,
not a
I
fan
think it's the problem you get with. It's the same problem I think Inception has, is that you need to spend this much time really setting, because this is a complicated kind of setup, and they kind of elegantly get it out within 5 minutes. And
Well, because if they don't have that voiceover, then you have to spend 30 minutes explaining it all in.
Yeah,
I
don't know.
just-
I think so far the visuals have illustrated that.
You have to remember, though, we have film Twitter for a reason, because people can't watch a film and actually understand what's going on. There's a reason film Twitter exists and
Fair.
complains about movies not explaining things when they clearly do.
Fair.
And it's also the thing that I think is the brilliant point about this movie is the time travel doesn't matter. I get the loopholes. I get people being frustrated by logic of different things. But Bruce Willis's whole point in this movie of And Rian Johnson's whole point is it's the time travel isn't the point. It's the emotional story behind it. And that's where oh, go ahead, Taylor.
No, I just, before we move on, because I know that it's going to move pretty fast. For me, when anyone has complaints about the logic of time travel, I can't handle it because time travel doesn't exist. So
yeah,
when you try to apply like the logic we know currently to time travel, I'm just like, can you complain about literally anything else? Because I don't care if that makes sense to you or not. It's not real.
Yeah.
I guess it only really matters if you feel like the movie betrays its own rules.
Mhm.
Like I understand that, but you're 100% correct. I mean, there's several different ways to do a time travel in a movie, and as long as it sets up its own rules and obeys them, then
I love the shot.
I think going off of what Jacob said, I think the exposition helps me the most because like once we kind of like get to the farm, I feel like we've it kind of justifies the setup. I think it makes me feel like at some point we're just lifting off and it carries us through the rest of the movie. But I like the exposition because it kind of throws out the TK idea, because I think, and I'm wondering if Pat, you've heard a lot of the criticisms that they kind of just throw in this TK angle into a movie that's already about time travel. But I kind of like how the exposition just kind of like throws it out there and pitches it to us instead of making it some like weird clunky exchange,
But and I like, along with the time travel, it just kind of makes this extraordinary thing very mundane in this world. Yeah, some people have psychic powers, and it kind of, what Rian Johnson's good at is building mythology. And in Brick and Brothers Bloom, it's more about like kind of the phonetic nature of how these characters work in the world. Right. Looper is about building the world and like building all these rules to like play with.
See, I think that there though is enough. You didn't need the then this voiceover bit. It's stuff like that where I think they add both, and I don't think it needs both.
I get what you're saying. I think Rian Johnson's just kind of like an old-fashioned dude, and he's very much throwing back to like Terminator has a lot of this. It's a noir. It's got that like kind of science fiction feel of like in 1979 the Terminators came back and like took us all out. And but I get like it can be a little clunky.
I think if I didn't have the narration there though, and I just saw him floating a quarter, I'd be like, what? What is this?
I think you need it. I think that it's a necessary evil. Whether it works for you or not is another thing. But like for me personally, I like noir films anyway, and it really gives it that hard edge that I think that you miss without the narration. Blade Runner, notoriously got rid of it for the final cut, but I actually think that the narration in that one's not as distracting either. But what do I know?
But what Jacob is saying is like super acceptable because narration, exposition, that is just simply one of those things that people from movie to movie tolerate or don't tolerate. I mean, I get it.
I think it also does the job of kind of easing you into this new version of Joseph Gordon-Levitt of like, he's got a weird new face and he's kind of emanating or like imitating someone else's voice. And it's trying to do both of like getting you used to it so that like when he starts, it's just like, this is a new version of this actor that you're not used to. And the voiceover has that much of a mechanic to be like, that's Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He's not going to sound normal in this movie.
Look at that dude floating a quarter again.
Yeah. And that's, it's a kind of a bit of an obvious like correlation of, he's using the Force in this movie. Like Rian Johnson getting to play with these tools years ahead of time.
I think this is easily the coolest Joseph Gordon-Levitt has ever been. I just think he has so much, and it helps that he's kind of mimicking Bruce Willis, obviously, but he's just a man, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not a great guy, but
he's Bruce Willis. He's literally the guy who was known for being cool.
He's the kind of guy that could convince me to smoke cigarettes if I saw him smoking cigarettes on the playground. You know what I mean? But
would you?
The only problem is that for whatever reason, he drives a Mazda Miata. But other than that,
closing your loop is such a fascinating thing, by the way. Like the idea that you are literally going to have to kill yourself to live the rest of the next 30 years to the best of your ability, but you also know that you're going to kill yourself down the line.
Well, and it's such a smart idea about, time travel movies like are about people not thinking ahead about their actions, and these guys literally are willing to like sell the next 30 years of their life until they die. They're not thinking far ahead, and so it's much a character study about these guys willing to throw themselves into nothing.
Sorry, I love this sequence. The way
I do too.
Moves. There was a quick smash cut a second ago. I can't hear it right now, but the music is really good right now.
Oh God! And the way the camera is flipping and stuff. Oh, it's so great. It really like, just exudes the chaotic energy of their lives.
Yeah.
There was a deleted scene here where they almost hit the kid, and he flips them off.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's funny, but you get why it's like not in the movie, because it's almost like too funny for this moment, because they're having fun. Meanwhile, people are suffering.
And to Jacob's point, you kind of pick up on something there. His relationship to children. And you didn't really need any explanation there. Now, obviously, you kind of pick up as the film goes on, you think back to, or at least I think back to that moment specifically right there. But you don't need anything other than the visual.
Yeah, I
like this moment though, where he then goes like, "What's that fourth loop closed this month?" And then the next shot is him closing his loop.
It's like so economic storytelling of setting up the pieces of, you think this is just kind of their world, but then all this stuff starts escalating and it's building to, Joseph Gordon-Levitt having to do it. I love how the time travel is them just appearing. It's not flashy. It's not anything fancy. It's just, boom, they're there.
This is such a great sequence, by the way, as he's building his gold and getting paid, and the way it's all just going down.
One guy's shoes flew off when he was shot.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's weighing on him. This next scene with Paul Dano really sells, and the whole surgery scene. It's just building an underground world to show the threat that these guys have if he can't be caught or else.
Right.
Evan, I'm surprised you haven't brought up my hatred for Paul Dano.
Forget that you had that.
I just watched.
I don't actually hate Paul Dano.
I typically don't love him just because he is so much of easily typecast as the Weasley guy. But I just watched There Will Be Blood, and I think that movie and this movie are very smart with that persona of him, because you kind of just want to see this guy get punished and like beaten up.
Did you ever see Love and Mercy? Because he was excellent in Love and Mercy. I wanted to. Yeah.
And the other one that I think he's really underrated in is Ruby Sparks. I think Ruby Sparks is a massively underrated film.
So I don't actually hate Paul Dano. It's just like a misconception, because I always get upset by him, and it's really the fact that he is so good at playing characters.
He's really good.
I detest. So just kind of like, it's just a joke, but I talk about how I can't stand Paul Dano because he's just so hateable. And There Will Be Blood.
Real quick, this scene.
Prisoners.
This scene of the guy just appearing and he's describing him singing and you don't get to hear the song is so creepy.
Yeah.
Him in Prisoners is incredible.
Mike K gets me, by the way. He does say Love and Mercy is incredible. It is. This whole sequence, man.
I like Joseph Gordon-Levitt not turning him in and like trying to help him. And at the end of the day, it is just kind of, I did as much as I could, dude, but it shows he has that sympathy in him. He is willing to kind of put himself out there a little bit.
But he's also smart enough to know that you can only push it so far in this world.
It starts running.
Oh, man.
There's a lot of those shots that kind of like don't make any sense, but they're so good. Like the way that the door closed, it's like, it's for the shot. There's several of those in the movie, and I really like that style.
Like Rian Johnson is really good at writing for theme, like really writing. Like we'll get to Last Jedi, but like not a ton happens that movie plot wise, but theme wise, a ton happens. But he's also very good at like visually. It doesn't make logical sense why some of this stuff happens, but emotionally, like the door was closed on that guy's life the second he let him go.
Too late.
Oh yeah, there he is. The champion.
I think Blue might be the worst part about this movie. I don't love his acting. I think
I don't either.
I think he's a hair too hammy. I think he thinks he's in a little bit more of a playful Rian Johnson movie than how serious this movie is.
Well, it's like what's his name, like Noah Segan or something like
Yeah.
that. I don't really understand. Like credit, shout out to him for being in everything Rian Johnson makes. I mean, that's cool, but also it's like what is that?
It's the one time it feels like, oh, Rian Johnson, you kind of just cast your friend in this movie. Whereas he usually just lets him play a bit part, which is fun.
I don't know. I have to really disagree with you there. I think he brings a little bit of levity to this movie. Yeah, I do. I think you need a character that still has a little bit of spark left to him.
Well, and especially in this world, I think that there's always that one person who's a hair trigger away from fully crazy, and that's kind of what this character feels like.
Totally.
Yeah.
And
I
I do
definitely got a different relationship with what's his face too. I mean, with Abe, he definitely wants his approval and is trying to look better than Joe. And I see all that.
And sure. I think he fits the mold of like he is his own undoing by being kind of the fool. I think he's just 1 degree too far.
See, I think that it's actually very smart casting because this character is normally played by someone a bit older, and the craziness is not out of immaturity. So it's more he's just a crazy person.
Yeah, he's just a hair trigger away from insanity.
Feels like a brick throwback, kind of like where the head honcho was like the big like reveal, and he's just this fucking high schooler. It's kind of the same way.
Yeah, it's funny because I don't see him as crazy. I just kind of see him as incompetent. But then the scene right next to this, you realize this small, like, little sci-fi movie that was a passion project for this guy has actors like fucking Jeff Daniels in it. And
he looks so good there. That clip, he looks so good.
Yeah, he does.
That pull focus, by the way.
Like he's definitely a bit of a doofus of a character, but I just don't get the hamminess that you guys see. Like I just don't see it.
He looks like Mikey Day from SNL right now. Goddamn Jeff Daniels, man. I love Jeff Daniels.
So good.
If you need somebody to like
Evan,
if you need
what?
Someone to describe your movie, it better be Jeff Daniels.
We don't talk enough about how he should have been nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Steve Jobs. He's so incredible in that movie.
That or The Martian.
Yeah, and this was, for me, kind of his resurgence as a character actor. Like, he was really coming up again and doing these bit parts in movies like this and Jobs and so on and so forth. So I love seeing him in this. It just makes me happy. I've always liked Jeff Daniels. Not just Dumb and Dumber. Anyone who's seen Gettysburg or Gods and Generals knows the dude is awesome. The Bard says that the guy is just playing sci-fi dote again.
See, and I love how chill he is. One, he's a guy from the future, and he plays that up and has a lot of fun. And he's a mob boss, but you can tell this guy likes Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
This is just perfect Rian Johnson writing.
Are his lips? Look at his lips in the next shot. They look, I think, are they modified by CG or something?
I don't think
no,
so.
it's all makeup.
I was gonna say, what does it look? It looks
they look a little pushed down,
right?
They look a little manipulated. The upper lip looks a little weird.
Yeah,
he looks like a turtle.
Bad. I just think it's part of what is supposed to go into his look.
Yeah. And see, just in this scene, you get a sense of their entire relationship.
Yeah.
Of how Joseph Gordon-Levitt is kind of one of the best guys he's got.
I gave you something that was yours.
Yep.
I gave you
that line.
That was yours.
Kills it. That and the China line is going to be great.
I'll talk a little.
Yeah. And it's the more he downplays this, the scarier it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just kills this scene, dude.
But you need this guy to like, and kind of what Joseph Gordon-Levitt is risking by running away from all this. Kind of a nice job.
Mike says that this was because he hadn't seen Newsroom, this was the first time he really got to experience what a great actor Jeff Daniels was. Mike, I really implore you to watch Gettysburg. It's like 3.5 hours, and it's something you really have to commit to watching, but he is incredible in it. It's one of the greatest Civil War films of all time, and maybe one of the great epics of all time. It just gets lost in the conversation, but it's incredible. He is awesome in it. There's a lot of great people in that movie, actually, but check it out.
I cleaned you up, and I put a gun in your hand.
Michael K. also watched the live-action 101 Dalmatians.
That I believe. I saw that in theaters.
Good Jeff Daniels.
Are we talking about the cinematography for a second?
I was about to say, like, shot on film. You can tell. You can feel it. This movie looks great. Steve Yedlin. What a DP.
Evan, talk to me, sweetheart. Talk to me, babe. What do you got?
I'm having a good time.
That's what I like to see. Mike K. adds Gettysburg to the list.
I'm enthralled, to say the least.
And Mike, if you find the director's cut, it's freaking awesome. Legitimately.
I love this moment where he's like,
you should go to France.
No, yeah, but no, it all becomes about money. Like it's that moment of it's that moment of, hey, we'll actually let your friend go. You can give him up, like we'll actually let him go, but it's going to cost you half your stash.
And it'll come up, but I think it is truly the brilliance of this movie is showing you, based on this decision, what his life turns out to be. If he sticks to his guns, follows his life, and you get a sense of this fulfilled character, even though he did this horrible thing, now he has to go back and kind of live with the like immediate consequences of it.
Why the fuck French?
I love how he describes that though, time travel, and it scrambles
like an egg.
Your brain.
So again, that's Rian Johnson. Don't worry about the time travel. It's just a mechanic in this movie.
Yep.
I'm from the future. You're going to China.
I do like the story behind why they did that, because originally they were going to France and they couldn't afford it, and a Chinese company was like, "We can pay you, but you got to come to China." So he had to rewrite it.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's great.
That's why. So because they were originally going to shoot in France, but they couldn't afford to fly to France, shoot in France. So, and then a Chinese company gave them a little bit of money, but they had to shoot in.
And it's one of the smartest jokes in the movie. I'm from the future. Go to like that's wow.
Yeah.
Hogue, the costuming is incredible. Having all the costumes so far have either been like a really dark blue or like black or brown. Having the one head honcho wearing red is just smart. It's smart.
It's what Rian Johnson's good at, and like we'll get to Last Jedi. You choose a strong color, and like you design kind of your movie around that. Like you think of Snoke's throne room.
Oh God!
Only red, like it. This scene, see, Jacob, I think like this is the best encapsulation of if you could do this all visually.
Yes,
like this scene proves that.
Damn. It's so good.
But I think you can only do this after everything they kind of like set up.
No, and I agree. I just there's little moments here and there that, like his line before, and I didn't mention it, but his line before where Joseph Gordon-Levitt says this is called letting your loop run, and he just adds it's an unnecessary.
This creeps me out so
this scene
much.
is
This
terrifying.
This scene is amazing, and I love it.
Truly
but it's so terrifying.
The shot in the street is what makes me queasy, honestly.
And this is what we've mentioned a couple times now, but this is shots like that are exactly why I want Ryan to do a horror film from his perspective of what a horror film is.
Kelly and Mike both appreciate Jacob bringing that information to the table.
Thank you for your facts today, Jacob.
I know my facts.
God, this whole
the foot disappearing. Oh,
I know. Oh.
The screaming. Oh,
I just love how the body parts just keep disappearing as it's happening, and
his tongue. Oh, I saw this in theater, and I was like, "Oh my god, this movie can go there."
Yeah, the first time I saw this was the moment I realized exactly what this movie was going to be.
Well, and it sets up why Joseph Gordon-Levitt can't get caught. how horrific this is.
Right.
When Bruce Willis finds the scar later, you're like, oh no.
And Jacob, I see what you're saying about it being unnecessary, but at the same time, I kind of like that everything in this movie has some sort of term, like running your loops. So for me, it doesn't bother me because it's like anything else sci-fi. It just kind of feels like there's always something, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's just like preference too.
Yeah.
Just kind of.
This film pulls no punches.
No,
Oh my God, no.
absolutely not.
It is
I love
funny that
shot so much with the mirror on the side of her. That's so cool.
it's a great visual of like him going into the room with the body, but like they didn't have to make where he had to go to where they were performing the surgery. Seems just like a little extra. Who is this actress? Because she's
she's Coyote Ugly's her big movie.
she should be more famous.
Hey, there's a Coyote Ugly in Tampa.
She used to be. Like, she was actually pretty big in the early 2000s.
But she got stuck on like TV on like State of Affairs, and they're really just kind of like she was in The Prestige. She was in this. She's talented.
The Prestige is great.
Yeah,
She's great.
Is it how many minutes are we into this?
Right now we are. Let's see,
20
24 minutes.
25.
Yeah, we're literally 15 seconds away from being 25 minutes.
Okay, so we still got a lot of time to talk about how this is better than Blade Runner. I can wait.
Shots fired from Ryan.
Blade Runner, maybe. 2049, I'm not giving you that.
I haven't seen 2049, so no spoilers, please.
That comment was specifically for Michael K, who loves to get riled up by things that I say.
Fair enough.
Shout out to Michael K.
Shout out to Michael K.
I do love Michael K. Michael K is a good man.
What a great guy.
See, I like how much the guilt is weighing on him. He feels bad. He sold out his friend.
But he did it because.
But you also learn how lonely he is as a person.
Yeah.
Through a lot of this. I mean, that's what this entire dynamic is
So
that
we'll
he
get
gets
to
he gets something out of this that is not reciprocated in any way.
And it makes sense why he kind of like hears Bruce Willis later be like, I don't care about a girl. Like, I'm fine by myself. And Bruce Willis is like, you idiot. You will find so much love later in your life.
Like what she's doing, I feel like that's something that he like asked her to do as part of like their exchange, as opposed to something she's doing to comforting him.
Totally.
Like, I feel like one time he went to go visit her and was like, I like it when you brush your fingers through my hair. Like I feel like that happened once.
But she's just watching the clock at that point.
Yeah.
She's like,
that's right.
So
him looking down right here and just the guilt that you can feel.
I want to just get into this, but the sad part is we can't actually talk spoilers because someone on this panel hasn't seen it.
I mean,
But
you can talk spoilers.
there is a lot of foreshadowing in that moment there's a lot of foreshadowing that never actually comes into play. It makes you this movie does a really great job of spending about half of the first half of the movie convincing you that you know exactly where it's going.
yes.
And then it doesn't do it.
Because Ryan Johnson,
weird.
man.
Yeah, the eyebrows are a little caterpillar. I knew that always looked weird.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure why. Evan, I'm sorry. I forgot you
I'm
hadn't
never
seen
gonna
it. I'll chill
It's
out.
good. I don't stress. It's part of the gig.
But yeah,
Oh,
because
he looks so upsetting.
you know
He looks so upset
the
right now.
stuff with the playing with the hair, you see it again later. There's things and conversations that are brought up that you are expecting to know where it's going to go, and then it doesn't do it.
Well, and that's what I like about Ryan Johnson, man. Sorry, Taylor. I did not mean to cut you off.
That's okay. I just love the tension of this whole sequence of waiting to get to this moment where we see Bruce Willis for the first time, and just the time that it spends with it.
Well, and he comes with no bag on his head, nothing, and just that thought, like you're looking into his eyes, you're looking into your own eyes, and I love the shots like that, like the realization that.
It's so. It just makes sense. Of like, that's how he got out of it. And Bruce Willis said he got the script, read it, and immediately said yes. Like it was just like no hesitation. I wanted
the story. I'd love to know, like what like, why this film? Why did Bruce Willis decide I'm going to turn up for this movie?
I think it's very emblematic because Rian Johnson takes a lot of meetings. Kathleen Kennedy met him a lot. It's very emblematic of him getting Star Wars. He wrote this movie for Joseph Gordon-Levitt, which you can definitely tell.
Right.
And Bruce Willis got the script and said, I want to meet this guy. And apparently Rian Johnson is just this guy. In a room. He's great in a room. He's very like good with people. I watched every behind the scenes of this movie, and Emily Blunt was like, he's my favorite director. He is able just to get in your head and like get you on the same page and make you care about the movie. And everything he says sounds so confident, but he's also a fun guy. And like, you can just, apparently the story with Bruce Willis was every time he gets on a set, he goes to the director and asks, what lens are you using? Mm-hmm. And if the director hasn't like a confident answer, he like loses faith in the movie and doesn't kind of give you the energy. But like, if he's in good, like he was in a Wes Anderson movie the year before this that he's really good in.
True.
And he will show up if he like has confidence in the movie. But you can tell this one, he really like knew, oh, this guy knows what he's doing. And it kind of relies on me to show up for this.
It's funny you bring up that whole thing because we all know the Cop Out story. Like,
yeah,
everything that happened with Cop Out. And yet there's an epilogue to that story now. If you guys haven't seen Kevin Smith's last stand-up special, the one where he literally had a heart attack after he did it, the Silent but Deadly special, he talks about Bruce Willis and him are friends again.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is a conversation that Jacob and I were having about a week ago, just talking about how interesting it is what movies he chooses to show up in.
Oh, this shot.
Oh, no thanks.
We also
Super
have
no
look at the
thanks.
camera, and it's gonna dolly back. I love that shot. Little things.
We also have to remember that a big part of it is his
I'm gonna
hand.
find him. I'm gonna kill him.
Jessica Gordon-Levitt is so good at yelling in this movie.
Yeah. What I was going to say is a lot of it with Bruce Willis is that he really, I think there must be he likes to work, but he also just likes the money. And if the paycheck's good, he shows up. And I mean, look, he got to a point in his career where he can do what he wants. It's a bummer because he's really talented. And Mike Kalinowski gives me, I love this shot, by the way. Mike Kalinowski.
That was the big trailer shot.
Yeah. Kalinowski gives me shit all the time because I talk about how I want Old Habits Die Hard to happen because I think if you got the right director to do it, and
if you didn't get Len Wiseman, if you get like John McTiernan back, like you'd get real Bruce.
But you even got him in Live Free or Die Hard.
You kind of got him.
You kind of get him.
No, you're both ridiculous. He's still very good in that movie compared to A Good Day to Die Hard.
Yeah, well, anything compared to Good Day to Die Hard is
my bigger
He's good in Expendables compared to Good Day to Die Hard, and he doesn't give a shit about those movies.
He's good in Red 2.
Well, but that's, I mean, the bigger point is I think that with the right filmmaker, he would make the right movie.
Yeah, totally.
And the script is good, and that's what matters.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to transition.
That's gold, right?
See that? Silver? That's gold. Yeah, that was Bruce Willis. It always looked like Wallace Shawn to me, though. The dead version of Bruce Willis. I was like, did he just kill Wallace Shawn?
That shot with the gold where that Bruce Willis is dead is the only shot in this whole movie that annoys me. That I don't think it should have been in there.
Bruce Willis being dead?
Yeah.
Mike K with the I'd like to see Joe Carnahan or Gareth Evans take on Old Habits. I would love to see that, but Carnahan will probably never work with Willis because he wrote that Death Wish movie that Willis was in.
Yeah, but that was also directed by Eli Roth.
No, but he was supposed to direct it, and him and Willis didn't get along.
Yeah. Taylor, I'm just curious, like, what didn't you like about the shot?
It's not anything about this shot in particular that I don't like. It's the way to me that the first time I saw this movie, that shot really confused me and made the whole rest of the movie really confusing. That's the only time that I've ever seen a shot in this movie and that really just threw me off of the whole story that's being told.
Because it didn't look like Bruce Willis? Or like what confused you?
No, we'll talk about it when we. Gotcha. I don't want to bring it up right now, but
that transition made me laugh.
It's a little like it's like okay, so he's still balding, but he's like going for the
It just made me laugh. All of a sudden, the turn like that.
You know who he actually look? He looks like Gary Oldman in The Fifth Element. In
A
that
little
moment.
bit, yeah.
His face.
What a champion she is. She's the best.
This montage bumps, by the way. I love it.
Her giving him the.
It's again, this is I think the masterstroke of this movie of just really kind of making Joe a dimensional character, because you start him as an idiot hitman. You see kind of what a fully developed life he gets.
Mm-hmm.
There's your conflict of look what you're about to lose. It's just it slows down and it's pleasant. There is one also, logic in consistency I don't get. But go ahead, PJ.
I was just gonna say the slowdown and the quiet is great because it also builds to the dread that we know is coming.
Yeah,
and that's what's so fascinating about this whole sequence. Really, is that this is the quietest that the movie really is for any point from here on out.
Yeah. I love how, how downplayed the future stuff is. Even 30 years after this, it is just kind of, screens that'll appear. Kind of guns that are retro but cool.
Jacob, did you see that shot with the foot?
Which one?
The one where she rubs his foot?
Oh, yeah.
That's another one of those that comes back later, isn't it?
Yeah. The movie really sets up a twist that it never does, which is great because I think that twist would have been probably stupid, but it sets it up so it does set it up for it to never happen.
It sounds like you don't want to spoil it, but I'm very curious when we get to that point.
I know exactly what he's talking about, and if I know what he's talking about, it was originally at one point actually a thing.
Oh, I'm so glad it's not then, because I think that would have been really stupid. The other thing that I do actually really appreciate about this movie is that from here on in, Bruce Willis is actually the good guy. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's the bad one until something happens. And at that moment, he then becomes the villain.
And without spoiling anything, it becomes very Terminator-esque in a way that I think is really well done. But Bruce Willis is always sympathetic.
Yeah, at this moment, Bruce Willis is not the villain of this movie at all. No. At this moment, whereas
we'll get to it. Yeah, but that's why showing his life, I think, is so important for young Joseph Gordon-Levitt, because you think that since his life isn't going to be churning out normally now that he's on the run, he never gets to have that happiness. And we'll get to it, but he starts to grow as a character, which makes you side more with him. This movie's so good. And again, it's just it's an orb. The time machine's just kind of an industrial.
There, he could have thrown someone else in there.
Because he's going back to fix it.
Yeah,
because his wife just got killed.
Yeah, just
if his wife wasn't killed, he wouldn't have gone back. But his wife was killed, so he has to. Yeah.
I love it done in a wide. I love just all right, back, and it looks kind of comedic of just a one punch. And
have they given that information yet, Jacob?
What? Where the wife was just shot? I thought they just did that.
No, that's later, man.
Sorry, my bad.
Weren't you just screaming about not spoiling this movie for Evan?
To be fair, that one moment, that's not a massive spoiler compared to what else is in this movie.
I do want to talk about the way that the future is displayed in this movie, because it's not so much about even how our technology is, where we kind of always have an updated model of something. Like that phone right there is the only kind of thing like it really in the movie, because it's not so much about improving on something and creating a new model. It's more about these installations or additions to devices. That's why you have pipes and things running around the cars and stuff. It reminds me a lot of the guy who inspired, what's his name? The artist that inspired Tales from the Loop. Did you all watch Tales from the Loop, or have you seen any of that guy's paintings?
No.
Yeah. So that's really what that guy is all about, where it's it's super clunky. It's still robotic, but it's clunky, and it's about adding to something instead of making it smaller, more cleaner and efficient.
Oh, go ahead, PJ.
Oh, I was gonna say real quick. I just love this whole sequence where he's following himself, and he's like, "I told you to run. Like, don't do this. You're being an idiot. Like, do all the thing. You're literally not listening to yourself." And I just love the juxtaposition of that.
Oh, I like him also getting the aspirin and having the headache, like
Right,
kind of
because
showing
the
that the
memories
time
are
travel
changing.
is affecting him. But it's like to that point, Ryan with like the exhaust pipes and everything kind of having those additive things. Like everything's not gonna. That's a great kill. Everything's not going to look like an Apple store. It's going to be like if humanity were to continue on its way, everything would kind of get grosser. We would just be finding these like duct tape fixes for all of our problems, like fuel exhaustion, so that when we get to the main location of this movie, it feels so nice in contrast because it's much more natural and it's much more like good. The city is Blade Runner in the sense of like, everything just kind of gets shittier.
You know what's funny? The first thing that reminded me of was actually like a more adult version of Ready Player One.
It's,
the way how the city was set up.
I could see that.
Yeah.
It also feels like the dirtier version of what Her would be. Like Her is a little bit more ideal, in how it's set up. This one just feels like, no, it would get bad.
Well, and that's one of the reasons I like when they use TK in this movie. They're like, no, it doesn't get used for anything useful. People are just floating quarters and shit and trying to impress girls and nothing actually. It doesn't make anything any better.
People would not benefit society if they got superpowers. They would try to hit on like girls at the bar, and you're
Of
like,
course they would.
That's humanity.
Let the grown-ups work.
Yeah.
He's so upset. And
That face.
Yeah. Dude, Daniels crushes this movie. He's in it so little, and yet every time he's on screen, he's so wonderful.
And Rian Johnson knows you need a guy with like that kind of pedigree to like sell those moments.
You never see Daniels be, a complete menace, but you know he could. But you know he could be. Just with the writing and the acting, no, this guy could be absolutely, genuinely terrifying.
Well, and
you never see it.
And his job is like, these kids are kind of my friends, but I know they have to die at some point. Like, I will be friends with you to a degree, and then my job takes over, and I don't want to kill you, but I gotta. It's like, that's why I was sent back.
Why are all the books wrapped in plastic wrap?
I think those are just like clear screens. I think like that one there, you just kind of exchange them.
I think it looked like just plastic wrapped around the bookshelf. You could see where there was like a
maybe to protect them. Like
that's what you like to call budgeting.
It's like how when I try to make like cornbread, but I only put like one sheet of saran wrap on it, and I don't like airtight seal it, so it's gonna go bad in a day.
I like that fear of.
But like, the last time I saw this.
Yeah. It's so brilliant the way that he shows it to you the first time, so that when you see it the second time, you go, "Oh no, that can only mean bad things."
Beatrice.
I do love this line coming up.
This and like the seedy night contrasts so well with like harsh rural day that it really does feel like, whoa, okay, wow, like I'm sobering up. This is a very different environment.
Back in Tremors.
Is that Kevin Bacon?
Dude, imagine Kevin Bacon in this movie.
Really, but like this movie kind of has that like Tremors feel of like every scene just keeps building, and like every little piece of information comes to culminate like throughout. And this scene is like every.
Well, this was the trailer scene too.
Totally, but like
I love this line. I love this like reveal.
What is it like, Sam?
Can I just say that I'm happy that the future still has Budweiser?
Oh,
that's the important stuff.
Yeah. But no Corona. Take note.
That's cool. This is
soy
really cool.
steak.
It is, right, Evan?
This Bruce Willis said in the middle of like shooting the scene of like, oh, you do kind of sound a little bit like me. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt had a conniption because he was so complimented.
No.
Hey, you know what easily could have been disappointed and not work? This scene.
Yeah.
I leave it thinking that it's a perfect scene.
Real quick, this
older and younger self.
This line of like, you don't even know Joseph Gordon-Levitt's order, and her saying, "I'm getting two of the same order," like, is a nice. Yeah. But like to that point,
this line of you could have used a shorter letter, a shorter word.
there's someone who else works here.
Thanks, Ryan. Now I want a burger from the Bard. I'm really happy the Bard is back. Mike K, we really get to see Elden Rain. Kelly says she's a chorus girl. Look,
Yeah, this 2-shot with Beatrix in the back is actually incredible because it tells
That looks good.
like a really nice frame, especially with her back turned because she's so unaware of what's happening. And that's just like really, really good visual storytelling.
I also want to go to Ryan's point.
Yeah.
I really think this is a perfect scene, and it's almost a short film. Like you could leave the beginning and the end of the scene and make it a 7-minute film, and it works.
It's
Also-
but it
I'm
real
sorry, go
quick, like this scene is in like indicating the entire movie. It's like I saw this right before I went to film school, and this is like kind of a college dorm room. Like, what if you were like a time traveling hitman and like went back in time and like you killed one of your like? It's such a like film school idea executed with like pristine 80s like precision that this scene is embodiment of that. Of this is deeper than you think.
I'm going to bring this back up real quick. I just want to say John Kaiser came into the chat, says Looper is one of the best films of the modern era. PJ is a national treasure. Thank you, Kaiser. And Boston sucks. That is correct.
Hey, Kaiser, just quick question. How many titles has your city won in the past century? And how many titles has Boston won in the past century? That's right. That's all I need to say.
Really hope that Kaiser.
So
That's another great moment where Joseph Gordon-Levitt's version of him is trying to talk semantics about how all this works, and Bruce Willis is like, that's not what matters. It doesn't matter.
there is a deleted scene where he spills straws and like salt and does describe it to a degree of like
I had seen that.
but you can tell that like it just, again, it's not the point. Like,
Right. And that's why I love how simple that line of, that's not what matters. That's not the story that we're focusing on you and me here. The rest of that doesn't matter.
see this line, Bruce Willis, like he gets a little teary-eyed and he sells like it and yeah, it hurts when he looks up what you do left.
Yeah.
Just Bruce Willis sells it.
I'm ashamed. I've seen this movie so many times, and I'm just now realizing the Band-Aid.
That's
on
such
Joe's
a great
ear.
line.
And
That's such a
then
great line
how-
of. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just such a great line of. This is a precise explanation of a fuzzy mechanism. Like, yeah, it's such a great line.
See, you can tell Bruce Willis is engaged in this movie because he let himself have a little stubble on his hair. Normally he just shaves it bald, but he's like, nah, I got a character. I'm going to show up. And just this sets the emotional core of like, you get like this asshole really was saved from the brink of death because of his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And it really kind of justifies it doesn't justify, but it makes sense of his actions later in the film. And you get why he's fighting so hard. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt's like, I don't get it. You found a girl? Did you pay her? And he's like, no, you idiot.
Fell in love.
What's love? I don't get that.
Evan, I want to know, like, are you surprised by the tone of this movie and the way that this looks? Because I remember anticipating this movie, thinking that I knew what it was, and I don't think any of us fully understood because it becomes something else, especially here in a minute. But
shut your fucking child mouth.
I had this idea that it was going to be more than just like a B level action movie, you know?
So,
like,
yeah,
if you
so
look
I know I've seen it before, but I don't like remember as I should, if that makes any sense. Like
Right.
it's not something that like it's cognitely in my head. I know that this movie's about time travel. I know it gets really fucking trippy at some points, and knowing what I know about Brick, and also even the brothers Bloom watch on that we did, like I'm not surprised by the tone. I'm not surprised by the look of the movie. I will say this is probably his grimmest looking film so far, even with Brick. Brick had some more colors that popped.
I love that line. 30 years from now is yesterday.
This Rian Johnson film is very specific with what colors pop and what don't, which is really interesting.
It's also very less cutesy with its dialogue. Like it knows it can't be too complicated especially with the tone.
Yeah.
Which we can talk about during the Knives Out watch on, because the dialogue is so cute in that, and it's in all the right
but
ways.
it works so well because of the tone.
Yeah.
So this is the one thing that doesn't make sense to me. if murder is so hard to get away with in the future, they killed the wife. That's the one thing I'm like,
but I feel like I have a response, but I'm not ready to say it.
I've been trying to like figure it out for years, and I haven't.
My argument is that it was an accident. It wasn't it, and so that guy who did kill him, he will go. He knows he's done. Like
maybe. Yeah.
That's my only explanation is that
that's
it was an accident
frame him for the murder.
Yeah, like, and it's the guy who pulled the trigger. You're done. Like you will now be in jail.
Okay.
Like,
I'm pretty sure there's an actual like obvious answer to it. I just can't say it yet. I have to wait and bring this back up later.
It's also the thing of like people are like, why don't you just like time travel them into a volcano? And I'm like, then it wouldn't be cool. You wouldn't have like gold bars and like like stuff.
That's the other. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Jacob.
No, but that's the other thing. Like, and that's a problem that we've now got with a lot of, like you were saying earlier with film Twitter is, there's another logical way that they could do this, but it wouldn't make a movie. Yeah. So, like, you're watching a fucking movie.
Yeah, that's the problem with like a lot of modern blockbusters. If they're trying to beat CinemaSins to their own game, and it's like, no, just make a good movie.
Like, that's one of the things that I think annoys me the most is there are people who try to make movies to beat CinemaSins and to not have plot holes and I'm just like, can you just make an interesting story?
Movie,
This
all
stuff with away some of that. In my opinion.
All of this stuff with the Rainmaker could have fallen so flat and been so just kind of like, did you need that too?
Yeah.
But he handles it so just like with just enough to like.
And that's where I'm getting at with the setup, that what they're setting up is to do with the Rainmaker. That
doesn't go where you think it's going to go.
It doesn't go where you think it's going. And
oh, that line is just so cold.
Yeah.
I'll marry someone else, I promise. Like, oh.
But it's, but to him, like, that's a solution. Whereas to Bruce Willis is like, you don't get, this is love. I don't want to not remember that. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt, like, like, it makes sense to him because he's an idiot.
Yeah.
And this is what I meant by Bruce. Right now, Bruce Willis isn't the villain. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is.
Yeah.
I would say it's a villain. I think it's a difference of perspectives at the moment. I don't see
well, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's certainly not the one I'm rooting for. At this
totally.
point,
at this point in the story, Bruce Willis is the one that you're like, no, he actually has a point. Whereas
whereas with Gordon-Levitt's version of him, he's just being selfish.
Yeah. And again, you saw the beauty of his life. Of like, I want this guy to have that life and become a better person.
The Bard says, "Oh, after everything, you wouldn't have a movie," and he's right. And then Mike K also saying, "CinemaSins indirectly ruined storytelling," and that
I'm not gonna
say they ruined it, but I mean, I definitely think that they hindered it.
There's a place for like that kind of fun nitpickery. It's when people react to it as if like, oh, we're gonna get shit on, so we got to like build it into the cake.
Yeah.
I mean, the Russo brothers admittedly said that they tried to make...
And the whole reaction to CinemaSins was the fact that, like, they were around, and I actually thought they made some really dope content. And it wasn't their issue, it's the way I think how people react to them. There's a bunch of film essays online that are 10 times worse than what CinemaSins is doing. And I think
it's film Twitter, period, right? We've brought it up a lot. It's film Twitter. Film Twitter... Film communities have toxic individuals. Every group has toxic stuff.
And like CinemaSins is like knowingly over the top with their criticism. Like they're not trying to be, too in depth.
It's willingly not serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
that's
problem,
such a great move.
The biggest problem that, and I don't want this just being a CinemaSins bashing session, but the biggest problem that CinemaSins and to a certain extent people like the Nostalgia Critic and video game reviewer is that they became. They said that, oh, we're a parody or we're satire, but it's not when it's clearly their own opinion, because when they did their own opinion shows, their same jokes were appearing there. And that's
I want you to finish your point, but real quick, the MVP of the movie just showed up on his
She has arrived.
Okay, she's second MVP for me because I think the kid is fucking
Pierce get holy
phenomenal.
shit.
He is phenomenal in this movie.
Yeah, but Emily's still the MVP.
Oh yeah, Emily's amazing.
Broom Boy himself.
You know, she's in this, and she's also in, she's also in.
No, it isn't.
She's
No,
in
it
the.
isn't.
Yeah.
Just take 2 seconds and look it up, Pat. That's all.
I'll look it up.
Is Emily Blunt it's hard to think of like when you think about like top 5 working actresses right now. It's hard not to bring up her name.
Sorry,
yeah.
Pat, PJ, what were you saying?
Oh no! I was just gonna say she's in this, which is great, but she's in a very underrated sci-fi flick, which is The Adjustment Bureau, with her and Matt Damon.
Oh,
I
I
like that
love
movie.
The Adjustment Bureau so much.
10
that
years
movie
old
is
next year.
Amazing, and if
I
you've
love
not
that movie
seen
too.
it, yeah, it's awesome. Maybe
She
we should
not-
do a watch.
Oh,
along
that's
for
right,
that,
yeah.
too.
We should. Oh my god.
You're telling me this kid isn't in Last Jedi? It looks so much like him.
Dude, there's so much time between The Last Jedi and this. There's no way it's the same kid.
That kid's he's in Tomorrowland. That's right.
But he looks like the Broom Boy kid.
He does look like him. There,
He's
see,
the
there's that
kid-
foot
yeah.
shot again.
Gagarin is the kid in he's the kid in Tomorrowland.
Tomorrowland's
Oh,
great.
that's another one. So
Tomorrowland's
Adjustment Bureau,
terrible.
Mike K loves it. And then the Bard said Edge of Tomorrow when. And that's a good point too. Edge of Tomorrow is also fantastic.
she's great in Edge of Tomorrow.
And Mike K
She's great in
saying
Mary Poppins. Don't
She's
forget
great
it.
in Mary Poppins.
we're just talking. I mean, I was mostly just looking at her sci-fi stuff, but I mean, I think she's great in everything she's in.
Like I said, I think she literally might be a top 5 actress working today.
I mean, what was it?
100%.
Yes, and what was it? The 5-year engagement was the one she did with Jason Segel. The movie's not good, but she's good in it. Like,
oh yeah, she's good. I mean, she's even good in the fucking Huntsman movie, and that movie's terrible.
Yeah.
oh yeah, well, I mean,
She's in Sicario,
Ugh.
and she was almost Black Widow.
Yep,
Her Iron Man 2.
that's our Sue
We
Storm.
actually had a conversation about that and how I think she would have made for a grittier Black Widow because
Yeah.
of all her sci-fi action movies that she's done, where we see how kick-ass she is. Would have been interesting to see, but
It would
we
have been
also-
different.
Yeah, it definitely would have been a different Black Widow for sure.
Part of me is glad, but like I would have loved her as Black Widow, but then the other part of me is like we probably wouldn't have gotten her in this in
Gulliver's
Edge of
Travels.
Tomorrow.
I was gonna say
That's
shout
the
out
movie that
Gulliver's Travels.
That's the movie that prevented her from being Black Widow.
Yeah.
Because she had a
Sicario.
contractual obligation. Already brought that up, Evan. Get on.
But we might not have gotten her in
I've been told
Sicario
by Emily
because she
Blunt
was
on screen.
doing Age of Ultron.
True.
Oh, this
We,
editing. Oh, this editing. Ooh.
I like
I think I'm like a half second behind you guys.
the more stubble that Joseph Gordon-Levitt gets, the more he looks like Bruce Willis convincingly.
It's probably how that's like working because now they're both like alive on the same timeline. It's probably part of the process.
Was this the first Rian Johnson movie you all watched?
No,
No,
I
yes.
had already seen Brick and Brothers Bloom to that point.
Oh, really?
I had seen the trailer for this before I'd seen any Rian Johnson movie, but I watched Brick and Brothers Bloom before
Yeah.
I saw Looper because I wanted to see him.
Yeah, so I know I saw Looper first, but like I said, I don't know when. So I'm gonna say Last Jedi was the first one I like consciously saw.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know who Rian Johnson was when I saw this movie. This
Yeah.
movie is what prompted my curiosity.
I was a big Pretty Much It fan back in the day on YouTube, if anyone else watched them. And they were like hot on...
commentary my favorite thing.
What's that?
There are 13 Reasons Why commentary is some of my favorite
Oh,
stuff
I
on
haven't
YouTube.
seen it.
Oh.
But they were big on Rian Johnson and were big
Yeah.
about this movie when it was coming out.
The Bard also
This-
says no.
This sequence here
Oh, yeah.
between the two of them
Oh,
really
God.
to me solidifies why his character works so well in this movie and why I don't see him as a hammy character.
And the way
I-
he drops that hammer real quick too, to your point with Jeff Daniels on the other end, he undersells everything in the right way.
Yeah.
I also like he's wearing Snoke's robe in that last scene.
Guys, remember that Jack Reacher movie where they try and like force that guy to like bite off his own thumb to like get
Yeah.
initiated into that
Yeah,
thing?
that movie's great.
Werner Herzog is like, it's my fingers on a mountain. And you're like, did he know he was being filmed at that time? He was just talking to a PA and they were like, start rolling the camera.
The first Jack Reacher's great.
It's great. Christopher McQuarrie.
Christopher McQuarrie. The second one suffers a lot without his writing and direction.
This scene's a little goofy, but I like it, and I really like Joseph Gordon-Levitt's line the next scene after this about this scene.
Hey, who's that?
Get out of my cornfield.
He's a Children of the Corn.
I love how he's laying on the ground because he has less of a shot to get like hurt. Oh
No, it's because he's got. You just saw it. He's having withdrawals. He was
withdrawals. Passed out.
All right, I forgot. My bad.
He ain't using no tactics right now.
She's dead.
This is a pretty good throw up. Like, this is pretty good and convincing.
Yeah, it's not bad. Throwing up's the worst, so I mean, he pulls it off pretty well.
Nope.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Oh, he put his head in it. Ugh.
That was gross.
I love that line.
We'll get to it, but the fact that she kind of knows about the loopers and just these little things that don't need to be explained really kind of tie in, like, make this world just feel a lot deeper than what we get to see. This intro to Sid
is brilliant.
It's so well done. I can't believe he's not Broom Boy. It explains why that kid's such a bad actor in The Last Jedi. I was like, his one shot of the woo, I think is the worst part of that movie.
You would.
Yeah, you would pick on that.
He looks like a baby when he's doing that.
Oh,
yeah, he does.
Oh, he is so good in this. That year I was pissed he didn't get nominated. Like I like, and that no one was even talking about it. Like, he's so good in this movie.
He still is. I mean, I would have nominated him that year. But that's one of those things that we always see. There's a discrepancy a lot of the times when it comes to movies like this. The Academy tends to overlook them, and the studios don't push them because they know that they won't.
And this movie came out in September, where usually studios like dump these dumb sci-fi movies, and this one was awesome.
That's kind of why I asked Evan like what he remembers about like what he thought this movie would be, because not the image that's on our overlay right now, but there's that other poster that's got the blue gradient and they're like back to back, and it looks like a straight to VOD. It looks like a movie that Bruce Willis would make without Rian Johnson. Honestly, it looks a little bit more quadrant, but also B level.
But I like the choice of just grays, like wispy smoke. It's very kind of artistic in that choosing a color and sticking with it.
See, there's Mike saying what we've been saying for the last 2 weeks. Are we sure Johnson's not a horror expert? Because this movie has a lot of great horror-esque moments. I mean, I've been saying that Brick's got those moments. Brothers Bloom's even got those moments. Like, I really think Ryan's got more of an eye for horror than he gives himself credit for. And then the Bard says that the sip is 100% him channeling Bruce, and I tend to agree.
Wait, there's some horror moments in the fucking Last Jedi too.
Yeah.
See, and like this whole part.
You mean the whole movie?
Oh God, Ryan.
Wait, do we have a non-believer?
No, I love The Last Jedi.
But it is funny because like I saw the Breaking Bad episodes. I knew that he was going to do Last Jedi, and then I went back and watched Brick. And that one chase scene in Brick of Joseph Gordon-Levitt like taking off his shoes and making the guy fall into the pole made me think this guy's doing a Star Wars movie. That's kind of cool.
It's crazy how I think honestly Breaking Bad is Rian Johnson's greatest accomplishment because it's the best episode of the best television show of all time. And we forget to mention that all the time.
And he didn't write his episodes. Like other people wrote them, and it just shows his talent as a director to like put it together. I like how he had to drag the cot into the sun because he's like handcuffed to it.
He's just so frustrated.
He's also, again, still going through withdrawal. Those are some hard drugs.
I think because we were too busy talking about The Last Jedi, which is fine. I'm not going to complain. We missed a really beautiful sequence that we didn't really talk about at all, which I'd like to, is when his memories are kind of starting to change and he's chanting to himself, looking at the picture of his wife. But in his mind, we're seeing Emily Blunt's character interacting with the current version. But just the way that it's shot and cut together is so well done.
And that fear of just what he's got to lose and what he's about to do.
I'm no threat to you, your boy.
I love this.
It's real quick. It's a contract. He just suddenly throws that in there. What is this? It's a contract.
It's a map.
Or it's a map. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's a map.
We missed the line earlier, and it's
the fear on her face.
This movie this moment caught me so off guard when I first saw it. And this was Bruce. This shows like separates good writers from like bad writers. So if they would normally just have them explain this, but now Emily Blunt is willing to do anything for her child, and this scene will escalate to there. Her forehead vein. And she knows about loopers. This scene is why Bruce Willis, when he shows up, gets $50 or $5 million a day, or I think it might be $1 million a day.
This is the flip, by the way. I think.
Yeah, this is the moment where you go, oh shit.
Wait, they're gonna kill the kid because the kid's the head honcho.
Excuse me?
That guy, Bruce Willis's wife, killed.
Yeah.
What?
Welcome to the movie, Evan.
Is that it?
Evan, just you wait.
I mean, that's.
I love a good like farm movie too.
This scene coming up just kills me.
What about
you're not the only one it kills.
Well.
Oh, I just watched Babe and Babe 2. So I like cities and I like farms, and both of those movies have. Yeah. And just the subtle transition of music right here. And also, like, okay, that makes sense why, like, that kind of numbers would freak her out.
Yeah.
And, like,
Oof.
Like, you're right in that this is why you cast Bruce Willis in this moment.
Yeah.
But, like,
that look he gives is very.
Oh, that shot there of him is terrifying.
Yeah.
This in the next scene really like, oh, Bruce is back in a way that we haven't seen.
And even then, like, you can tell how much this is hurting him.
Yeah.
But he's doing it for what he believes is,
and it's so tastefully done.
Yeah.
And again, all that setup is worth it because in any other movie, this is still irredeemable.
Yeah, it's just,
but it's understandable.
Mm.
This is a guy who is killed to get where he needs to be at his entire life, and he needs to do it just a few more times.
Mm.
But it's worse than it ever has to be.
Even that shot there of him, like it's crying over, he's just killed someone, and it's it's such a powerful moment.
Yeah. This implies that they had a kid, right?
No, they wanted to.
Because you hear a baby crying.
I think actually he said that she was pregnant at the time.
I don't think he did. I think we're just making that up.
Okay, fair enough then.
God, dude, here, he's so good.
He does say in the diner that she was gonna have your baby or something like that.
Yeah. I thought No, I thought that he said she wanted to. It was always only just a desire. I didn't think there was ever.
Oh,
But I could be wrong. I don't know.
I don't know
Wait,
either.
no, that's his grandson.
What?
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 Oh,
There's
never mind.
no
Evan,
no grandson.
they're
Evan.
in the past,
hold on,
Evan.
hold on. Well, it is a time travel movie. There could be greater reveals.
I know,
Evan,
but
Evan, there's no grandson, so just lose that.
But it makes a lot of sense in Joseph Gordon-Levitt's explanation of just he'll come here last because he doesn't want to face me.
Mike says, so is this an example of what if you killed baby Hitler story? That's kind of the impression they're what they're talking about, at least, of, you know, what would happen if you got rid of the Rainmaker. The Bard, what? I'm assuming that's to what Evan was saying. And Kelly says, I think it's just because she said that she wanted to have a baby and that she was shot in the stomach, like visually killing any future baby sort of thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Regardless, he had to kill a kid, and that
Well,
it kind of just goes back to that diner conversation, which this movie hinges on, of Joseph Gordon-Levitt's like, you lived your life, it's my turn, like just roll over and die, because like you lost your wife, you lost everything, like give it up. And that's mean, but now he has to kill kids to get it back. It's like, that's not fair.
also shooting rock salts is interesting. That means that like you don't have any ammo out where she is.
No, I mean she doesn't. She wasn't willing. She's not willing to kill.
Well, no, because bolts are expensive and they're hard to come by.
Well, she might have ammo. She just uses rock salt for like these.
She uses that because the people, like, you see who the people are, which they're just hobos, like they're people or addicts, like, and she's like, I'm not going to kill them. I just want to scare them.
Look at that lighting.
I know.
Yeah, the cinematography in this is amazing.
But even then, you think like the lighting there, it's wholesome. It's, you know, where she's, you know, they're at home. Like it's that shot of just,
Well, and the city is so grungy and like green and dirty, whereas like this is warm. And that's a very like Searcher shot, which was Gordon-Levitt of outside the house, not knowing what to do. And like a lesser movie would not like let Bruce Willis have the time to kind of come to terms with what he's had to do and what he needs to keep doing.
Get so
whoa. Fuck.
I like this kid being a little stinker. He's like,
It's Broom Kid, bro.
shut up. Shut up, Evan.
My God.
Hey, Hogue, did you know that that's the Broom Kid?
It's a really funny bit. Whoever says it next wins, you know, the Oscar for comedy. Good job.
I'm sorry that Hogue, I'm so sorry that your Facebook got swept up like that.
That was really good. I'm not gonna lie. Swept up because you know he's the Broom Kid. It's funny.
Thanks, PJ. I didn't get it without you explaining it explicitly. Excuse me, guys. I'm trying to watch one of my favorite films, Looper, if you wouldn't mind.
He's been bullied.
It's super sad to me that killing people and all of these like just super mature topics are something that are already ingrained in this kid's brain and this kid's life. I mean, he could just talk about, you know, killing people with him right here.
Just the look of, are you fucking serious? You just did that.
But there's a moment where Joseph Gordon-Levitt calls the gun like bigger than him, and like the kid gives a little like kid smile where he's like, "You didn't get me to laugh."
The Bard said, "Oh my God, not Broom Kid was in Twin Peaks." Great to know Pat Hogue was also in Twin Peaks.
Right now, I'm Broom Kid.
No, you're not the Broom Kid.
I don't get it.
I don't either. Evan, Evan.
Pat laughed.
Okay, hold on. This scene is terrifying.
Yeah.
And he's like 6 at this time.
That's what I just said, Pat.
I'm sorry.
I was trying to talk about.
Sorry, Ryan.
Wait, what the fuck is happening? Oh my God. That kid.
Yeah. The way he says that, too.
What?
And just like you can tell the difference between bad kid actors and good kid actors because
easy.
Bad kid actors, you can tell their parents like fed them the lines like to say it exactly. And like this one knows what he's saying, and it's terrifying.
It's like in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that little actress who works alongside DiCaprio in the movie.
Oh yes,
she's excellent because it's the same thing.
That's part of the movie.
She's fantastic.
Or like Haley Joel Osment in Sixth Sense with Bruce Willis. Of that kid knows what he's doing.
Hey, that kid from August Rush.
That's a Freddie Highmore. That's a cool axe, like double bladed.
PJ, remember in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood where they just spent like 40 minutes following an actor on set and acting?
Yeah, it was great, and I still don't know why you don't like the movie, but I still love you.
I like how she doesn't fall for him at all, like for that at all. She's just like, when did he wake you? Like, when did he give you this?
No, I like frogs and I like lights. Thought I'd put them together. Seemed like a good thing.
Oh shit!
I like that shirt he's wearing.
Yeah, it's a nice shirt. He's got a Dexter vibe going on right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's also Rian Johnson's really good at like shooting a location so that you kind of get all the geography down. Like Knives Out, especially, he does that. But like the islands in Last Jedi, this whole camp, Brick, the high school, and like that kind of whole like suburb of Los Angeles.
But like, I like. Sorry, just to get.
Yeah, that's what's up, Kelly. That was an important part of once.
Sorry, I like that one moment there. You instantly understand why she knows all of this, why she knows what loopers are, why she knows all of it, because she was a drug addict and loopers are drug addicts. Like it just instantly explains everything.
Well, and she's a younger version of older Joe. Like she's somebody who got her act together after living a really shitty life because of the shitty thing she did. And so she sees what he can become, and like he kind of learns this lesson early on, even before Bruce Willis did.
32. 32. So.
Wait, how far ahead are you, Ryan?
Yeah,
I'm still at 21.
I'm not ahead. I'm just quoting the movie. I'm not ahead.
Okay.
Well, spoilers. I didn't know there were numbers in this movie.
Evan, spoilers. 8 times 4 is 32.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Not like I already knew it, but I appreciate that.
All right, no problem.
I didn't know that you knew how to do math, so that's a first.
I'm all right at it.
16.
I help you.
32.
He's so believable.
He's so good.
He's such a good kid.
I just again, and you can tell this guy, like this director, like he can work with kids. Like, what can't he do?
Star Wars apparently to half the internet.
Well, yeah.
Mike, I was
so
mad.
This moment is terrifying. This is like the look on her face is terrifying.
Yeah.
And that
You're gonna get killed.
Yeah. Her solution is to get into a safe.
Yeah.
And he says he doesn't know horror movies, but this is straight out of a horror film.
It is. This is fucking terrifying.
It's Damien Omen type shit.
Just the wind rustling and everything.
Well, and that's why I think all of us are kind of baffled when he says he's probably not going to do a horror movie because he doesn't know them. And then you just watch his movie and you see these elements pop up and you're like, are you sure about that?
I actually think deep down he's a Friday the 13th fan or something, you guys. Like, I really do.
Ugh.
Wow, thank you for the spoiler alert, Pat.
What?
Appreciate that.
No, I'm just saying, like,
the logo popping, the thumbnail popping up.
Oh, who did? Oh. Was that Chris Clark?
Is that Chris? God damn it, Chris. I blame it on PJ and it's your goddamn fault.
What is going on?
Nothing. They accidentally just put up the logo for next watch along.
That would be Chris Clark, ladies and gentlemen.
After this scene, like this moment. It really like it makes this relationship like 3-dimensional. Like a kid will react sometimes.
He's a kid. Like he's a 6-year-old kid. Well, he's not even, actually he's probably 4 there.
A really well-spoken child scares the shit out.
He's probably 4. Well, he's probably 4 or 6.
But I love how he is
he's
written as a. Are we done debating age for a second? I love how he's written as a very well-spoken, clearly very intelligent kid, but they're not disregarding the personality of a kid where he still has tantrums and he has a hard time with his emotions and he's not fully in control of how he's feeling.
This is how I feel every day.
And for Bruce Willis to like succeed, he can't see him as a kid. He has to see him as a threat. And what Joseph Gordon-Levitt's perspective, what he gets in a very short amount of time that Bruce Willis gets over his life of, this is a person.
Mike K says, I don't believe Johnson. I think he's just saying he's not a horror fan so that he can surprise us with 3 movies down the road with the greatest horror movie.
I want to see a Sith horror movie and I want to see a bounty hunter thriller. Those are the 2 things I need.
Why don't you mix the 2?
True.
Hell yeah.
A bounty hunter thriller that's a horror film.
I'm down.
I like that.
I said that and Bruce Willis said, holy shit. You're right, Bruce Willis. Holy shit!
I like that moment where she went in, where it looked like she was going into the other house, and he's like, "Oh, thank God, I don't have to do it." Oh no!
Yeah.
But it's just like he still has to kill a kid, but now he's like, I don't want this to be personal because that just makes it that much harder.
He's gonna kill his grandson.
His grandson in the past, by the way.
We're going back to the past.
There's a scene coming up later that was deleted for good reason, I think. With Bruce Willis. We'll get to it. I'll wait. Actually, who is this actor?
You've had about a movie yet, Pat? And that's
I know
this
movie a lot.
He's one of the great character actors. If you ever watched Raising Hope on Fox, he was the father on Raising Hope.
Right. I was like, I've seen his face before.
His name is like, is it Garrett Dillahunt?
Yeah, Garrett Dillahunt. Because Ryan and I talk about him a lot, actually. He's come up in a lot of our podcasts because he's a great character actor, number one. Yeah. But it was weird because Raising Hope was super popular at the time this came out. And that was the only thing I really knew him from at the time. I've gotten to know some of his other work since, but it was weird seeing him in this because I was used to him being like an aloof kind of comedic dad who didn't quite know everything, and in
kills
this
scene.
Scary. I love it.
But he's like charming enough to like kind of put you at ease. Of like this guy, if you just talk him down, will be reasonable enough to like walk away.
Joe Levitt supports that too. He's like, hey, just so you know, he's the best Gat man I know, but he doesn't want to hurt you. He'll leave you alone. Yeah. Like,
he also plays being thirsty really well. Like, you really think he wants a glass of water.
He's a good drinker.
You know what, man? He'd make a great Kurt Connors.
He's also
a Norman Osborn.
He's also going to be an Army of the Dead.
Right, the new Zack Snyder one.
With Chris D'Elia.
And Dave Bautista.
And Theo Rossi. How many other actors can we name from?
I've already tapped out, and I keep forgetting that movie's supposed to happen because I feel like it was announced 5 years ago.
Snyder just wants to remind us that he did Justice League instead of anticipating Army of the Dead.
Yeah.
What a hack.
Glover Pride saying, can't wait for Last Jedi. Thank you, Glover Pride.
Next week.
Can't wait either.
Oh, man.
Can't wait till next week. Oh, that's...
I just started my binge this week. Star Wars is a franchise.
Not a very good one.
It's a weird franchise that's had a lot of kind of weird bad movies, but for interesting reasons. And so when Last Jedi comes around,
Ryan Snell, could you not?
Can I not talk about how Star Wars objectively has more bad movies than good? Sure.
Yeah, can you stop? Because that's not true, but that's okay.
Man, Looper's a good movie, guys. I really like this one.
Let's talk about
I was going to say, when we start throwing the word objectively around when it comes to movie opinions, no
The only thing that's objective here is Ryan Snelling's bald head. That's it.
I got some on there. I got enough to show that I also have a bad hairline.
True. We love that.
I love that shot.
This whole this is
I love this.
This is Hitchcockian tension. This is so
it's straight out of Rope. It's straight out of Rogue.
Yeah.
That kid is so good. Kill him.
He is going to make a horror film. He has to. Look at this child. He's
like,
so
this
creepy.
But this whole, you're right in that it Hitchcocking. Like Rian Johnson uses Hitchcock a lot in his movies. Like Knives Out is Hitchcock. It's even Brick. But Knives Out, I have to somehow show.
But
yeah.
He's described Knives Out as a Hitchcock movie with a Agatha Christie engine, or it was an Agatha Christie story with a Hitchcock engine in it.
Right.
Because Hitchcock hates those stories.
Yeah.
Like
because it's Hitchcock's whole thing. You have to show the bomb you have to show that if a bomb suddenly goes off, there's no tension. But if you show the bomb and that it can go off at any time, there's tension.
My
God!
Ryan, just so you know, Glover Pride says, damn, Ryan's a prick, but that's why he's the best. He's like the guy who runs Collider now, but cool.
Yeah. But also, Jacob, to that point of like Hitchcock was known for storyboarding every shot to the point of not looking in the lens, so that every shot just communicated another aspect of this movie. And Rian Johnson really is a very visual storyteller in that it's just characters looking at each other, which tells half a story as much as what the people are talking about. And you get
sorry, just while we're on this scene, something else I really appreciate a lot about this movie and this script is when Joseph Gordon-Levitt is interacting with the kid, he's speaking to him like he understands sentences like an adult. Like he has, but he appreciates his comprehension level. He's not just treating him like a dumb kid.
Yeah. He's a 30-year-old in like a 5-year-old's body, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt's like, you're smart. Like I can talk to you. Like you're a friend.
Also, this line of dialogue here is again setting up a possible twist that I thought that it was going, and I'm so glad it doesn't.
It's foreshadowing that doesn't go where you think it's going to go.
Which line was it?
This whole dialogue where he's talking about his mom.
It's the Rian Johnson classic. He always subverts your expectations.
I think Ryan's figured out. Pat's figured out what I thought the twist was.
I think so. I'm not too certain, but we'll get to it.
I'm still waiting on what the kicker is. We're a little bit halfway through the movie now, about like 2/3 through it. I don't know what the big twist is yet.
I wouldn't say there's a big twist.
I don't know. Say that. Twist.
I wouldn't call this movie to have a giant twist at the end of it.
Because I still feel like Bruce Willis is justified, not in his actions, but his reasoning for wanting to do his actions. I still don't view him as a villain, you know?
There's the movie does a lot of legwork to give him, empathy.
Yeah. I mean, he does too kill. He has killed an innocent child simply for being born on the wrong day.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Evan, you still don't feel like you still feel like he's justified?
No, I don't think he's justified. I think his emotions are justified rather than his actions. You know?
Yeah. You get where he's coming from, even though you don't condone like what he's doing.
I don't want to throw around the word villain because I don't think it applies to this film yet.
I think it's every character acts or like judges every other character in broad strokes, whereas Bruce Willis looks at Joseph Gordon-Levitt like, you don't get it, I get it because I've lived a life. Whereas Joseph Gordon-Levitt is getting a taste of that, and if he just allows, maybe we can have a second life where now I get to experience something different. But Bruce Willis is so like, no, you don't get it. I'm now locked in my way of thinking.
I'm not gonna lie, I genuinely love this moment. I think this is absolutely hilarious.
So
is
good.
So hot.
I know.
It's
great. It's fantastic.
High school Pat, like, I want a frog.
Hogue, are we about to share a moment with each other here?
No.
But that moment there where she's just like, I shouldn't have done that. Like, where she's kind of like, I don't know if I should have or not done that. And it's just...
But it's also like, it's happening. It's
on.
Happening.
Pat, just make sure you keep the camera on your face. I don't want to see your wood.
Hold on. Just Gordon-Levitt. God, yeah, this is sorry. This isn't my favorite Rian Johnson movie. This is the greatest film ever made.
But not only like what I think is so smart about that is that there's not like in so many of these movies, there's the awkward moment beforehand where there's I called you up because of this and I need you to check this and like it's just I just wanted to fuck you. Like
there's a moment where Joseph Gordon-Levitt's like, "What's going on?" Okay, and
like, you know what? I'm not going to question this gift that's just been presented to me.
Evan, the twist is right there. They actually conceived Sid. Now think about that.
And then she's smoking a cigarette after, man.
What's funny because she earlier hinted at the fact that she had quit smoking.
The bard says, "I'd be okay just being in the room, maybe getting them drinks or a towel."
Oh, she's a TK.
I love this line. I wouldn't.
But when Emily Blunt calls you upstairs, you don't question. I mean,
I would keep
the man makes a point.
This almost blood.
That's the best.
I like this. I like this story where she like fucked with guys in the city who try to impress her with like their TK.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, "Fuck you, I got it better."
That smells sexy.
And like this feels logical that like people who aren't in on the situation wouldn't know that it's a 1-to-1, but like after consideration of what's going on, it's like, oh, I get it. This is a lot more complex. You saved my ass. Those little incidental lines of just they let them stutter, they let it breathe. That's Rian Johnson is a very particular writer, but he knows that people don't know what to say sometimes, and it takes a little just extra something.
Imagine being someone who doesn't think Rian Johnson can write.
I know. It just baffles me.
It really is astounding watching all of his films week to week. This is his third film, and then he gets a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Like,
and you can see why.
Yeah.
This guy has made 5 films, and probably has way more ready for his life. That's so like exciting.
People think that he's as qualified as like Pauly fucking Shore to be in Hollywood or something.
Yeah, all over. We'll talk about it next week.
Pauly Shore?
Yes.
Hey, don't shit on Pauly Shore.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh
man.
my God.
His mom ran the comedy club and was one of the great.
This moment where
comedy
she's like,
ladies.
Did you
She's
know her,
actually
PJ?
talking about how she abandoned her child.
It's and
like
It's heartbreaking.
not cheating. They're doing it in one take. They just
Gabriel says,
Emily Blunt is a great whisperer.
She,
I don't know if you guys have noticed that. It's on display during the A Quiet Place 2 trailer. She's great at whispering, but the way that she says, "I abandoned my baby,"
Yeah, because
like,
there's just enough there's just enough chest voice in there to put emotion behind the head voice. That's right. I just use vocal terms for you guys.
Gabriel C says if he doesn't get his Star Wars trilogy, he's going to be disappointed.
Join
Ryan,
the
you know what chest voice and head voice is, Ryan?
part of me is like, you know what? I like him doing his own stuff, but then the other part of me is like, but I want him to do another Star Wars movie. Like I'm in that two minds.
I mean, yeah, I feel like if we got Ryan doing at least just another Star Wars movie in general, we'd at least get some coherent storytelling and some good femme gaze.
And like Kathleen Kennedy saw Brick, and after that movie was like, I want to meet this guy. And throughout his career kept just, what can we do together? And was just, aching for the chance.
I love that. I love that of just don't do anything stupid. Like it won't work. Just sit down on the couch.
What you can tell reveal too. Just coming down the stairs and it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can tell they're friends. Like they've gotten drinks together.
Give Indy 5 to Rian Johnson. There you go. That's the next thing him and Kathy can do together.
Yeah. And it is funny how this sets out
this
of like
whole moment.
He's
fucked.
This moment.
Jesus. And also, Rian Johnson uses sound so fucking well.
The way the kid falls, number one, is just.
But the way Emily Blunt does this, the way she's just like, nope, get the fuck out.
And he cross-cuts it with another scene.
Yeah, I was going to say, the way he's cross-cutting it with what Willis is doing is crazy.
Which he was supposed to have a monologue there. And they cut it out because it just was not right for this tense moment.
And that he's going to protect the kid, and she's like, nope!
She's like, the fuck out of here.
All right, you guys are a little ahead, so spoilers. I haven't seen this movie.
His face right there.
Yeah. Well, if you were on time with the rest of us.
I'm sorry.
This whole moment is just.
I'm gonna watch Evan's face while this happens.
Kid's face is so good.
He's so creepy.
Dude, that's fucking Broom Kid.
Oh
my god.
Evan.
Evan's just like.
Oh, it was so good.
Fucking brutal.
That's
the funny part is she knows this has happened before.
Yeah,
because it happened to her sister. Like,
Mike's,
and the movie never says that outright, but that's clearly what happened.
Mike in the chat says, "I'm sorry to keep bringing this up, but Looper is yet another example of Johnson wearing his anime influence on his sleeves in terms of the tone and the scene that's about to come up shortly." And yeah, I mean, it definitely feels very anime, very, very Akira.
I mean, just look at the guns he's holding. That's so stylized. And this is a Western with sci-fi influence.
I love that shot of them against the clouds, and it's just the clouds in the background.
Yeah.
It's so pretty.
This movie is gorgeously shot.
My dream is to make a movie in Nova Scotia, which has the most blue sky and like white clouds. One complaint about this movie, more clouds.
It's a great sequence, right, Kelly? Just
that line of "he doesn't" is just brutal.
And this is the brilliance of.
But also the blue sky behind him was really interesting. Like that's probably the brightest we've seen the sky in all the film. In that shot where he's pissed off.
I just think there's so much tremendous weight to discussing whether a child should deserve to live or not.
Yeah.
I mean, that's essentially what they were just arguing about.
But it's also the only reason this Joe can succeed is because he's young enough to have his mind changed. Bruce Willis has already lived his life. He's not willing to accept that he's wrong. And Joe can look at this
look on his face.
I know.
The look, this is just the look of a terrified kid. But
I think that's I said, that's the thing I think this movie does so well is balancing obviously how intelligent this child is with the fact that he's still a child, especially emotionally at the end of the day.
That right there where he's cried down his cheek and
you see
that. Oh God, it's just so good.
This is Joseph Gordon-Levitt's best performance, right?
Yeah.
I think so. I do think so.
Brick is his number 2. I think he's done all his best work with Ryan.
Yeah.
I love him in Inception.
He's also really good in Dark Knight Rises. I don't love that movie.
Yo, what about Don John?
Don John's
real good.
Well, all the performances in The Dark Knight Rises is really good. It's the script that holds it down.
I will say that Marion Cotillard is not great in The Dark Knight Rises.
I'll agree with that. My father's work is done.
She's literally looks like she forgot she was supposed to die on camera.
Marion, we're gonna get a second take of that? No, I want to go get crafty. Well, all right, that's a wrap on Marion.
Guys, I want to shout out Rian Johnson really quick. I brought this up before we went
That's
live.
what this show is.
2 movies are free to watch. Looper is free to watch, and Brothers Bloom is free to watch. One on YouTube and the other on Tubi, which is a legit streaming site. I had to look it up. Like, that's incredible that Brian has made his like movies readily available.
It only took us an hour and 50 minutes to shout out Rian Johnson on the Rian Johnson appreciation show.
And even to that point,
3 weeks and an hour.
And to that point, remember, he also has Last Jedi on Disney Plus, which is easily readily available too. So
Yes.
I don't know if he made these decisions, guys. I think there are like
No.
studios.
Could easily not be on a streaming thing though. Like,
He doesn't write the contract.
Oh, this whole sequence.
I know, dude. Oh,
This is like you missed Die
this
Hard.
whole
Bruce Willis.
sequence, you guys, right here.
This is the perfect version of like Hollywood.
It's a P90.
Hollywood made Bruce Willis into like Sylvester Stallone, and it never fit. This is him
Also,
like doing
what's
it right.
great about this is it doesn't matter who he's killing. It's all about the emotion of him killing those people because of what this is all leading up to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I just want to say, like, again, to my point earlier, if you made a Die Hard film with this much intensity and this version of Willis, you'd have something ridiculous.
You'd get something great.
Yeah.
But
so are we starting a petition for a Rian Johnson Die Hard movie?
I mean, last week we petitioned
After
for
Guys
the
and
Rian
Dolls.
Johnson Guys and Dolls. So
Yeah, I know. So we're basically just starting a list at this
But
point.
here's my thing: the most important part, though, is you can't have this level of intensity 3 times in the movie, and that's what I think a lot of problems are with a lot of modern day action movies.
That's a
they
good
try
point.
and have this level of intensity like at the opening, in the middle action scene, and then the final action scene. You can't. You need to.
It's what
build
John Wick does really
to
well.
That moment, yes,
Yeah.
John Wick does it very well. Where
The Raid.
the
Raid.
level of emotion and intensity definitely changes over the course of the film.
the
It
Man
all-
films.
Yeah.
It also kind of just shows how inept this whole system is. Of like every system in this society is at some point going to fall, and it just takes an enraged Bruce Willis to tear it down.
It always takes a fucking enraged Bruce Willis to tear it down.
Dude, look at this. That's the Bruce I want to like. Imagine John McClane looking at like that at the end of this.
And then you don't need to see it.
Mike K, I've now officially changed my mind. It has to be Rian Johnson directing Old Habits Die Hard.
There's
That Old Habits Die Hard script with Arnold as the villain, and it's
Wait,
just
whoa,
so good.
give me a second. Should process what the hell's happening here.
He's the only one alive.
Got it.
Everyone else is dead.
Gone.
there's
Didn't even show it.
some
Brian's like budget, it doesn't matter.
there's great behind the scenes videos of this scene of like Bruce Willis sitting next to Rian Johnson looking at takes and them just like patting each other like on the arms, like being buds, being
Very
dudes.
excited, and it's really cool.
You can tell he was enthusiastic of like, oh, we're making something like awesome here.
Something
So,
very
Evan,
Yeah.
how much do you reckon this movie cost? Like, just a ballpark figure.
30 million?
Fuck, well done.
It just and it looks like
It's
a
because
movie
of the
that
city.
nowadays would cost 100.
Yeah. No, without
looks
the
like a
city,
seven-
then I wouldn't. Without the city, I probably would have said 10. But because of everything that's in the
I-
city and how many sets you had to build there, 30.
I'd say it looks like it cost 70. Like, it looks like it cost money.
Yeah. And it's just, but that's what's emblematic of good directors nowadays. Of Ryan Coogler, they're willing to like play with the bigger budget before they're thrown into the studio system. And Rian Johnson just proved, if you give me more money. And the character arc for young Joe here of like, I'm past money. That's not the point now.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet.
Also, this is
He's
such a
willing to
commentary on
change.
time travel. Such a commentary on time travel.
I still want to make a joke about how Hollywood personified asked Rian Johnson, where would you like Brothers Bloom to go? And he's like, well, let's put it on Tubi.
Also, I paid for this
forget
movie,
Netflix.
Evan, to support
I love
Rian
that.
Johnson.
Fuck HBO, fuck Hulu, we'll put it on Tubi.
He's
Great
so tasteful.
Oh,
That almost sounded like
another thing why I think the budget isn't as high as like you could predict 7 million is because you don't see a lot of deaths on screen. A lot of them are done off screen.
All right, guys. Similar to our Guys and Dolls situation last week, the tweet is out there.
Woo! Hell yeah!
Make that thing go crazy.
Oh God,
he's
poor
going
Ryan.
to respond and say, "Guys, I can only do so many meetings a week. Like Guys and Dolls was about to go, and now I gotta start working on this thing."
He's probably tired.
Today, PJ literally makes me go to twitter.com.
I'm just saying he's probably tired of us tweeting at him every week, suggesting a new movie for him to make. But you know,
I got to imagine
the first
that
week was a horror movie. Last week's Guys and Dolls.
Well,
this week's Die
hold
Hard.
up. If one person I think has been like bathed in the fires of hell on Twitter, it's Rian Johnson. I don't think we're bothering him.
I don't think he's angry about the appreciation tweets after the hell he's been through.
And to be fair, we're literally dedicating an entire month to him. So
see,
exactly.
This shot though.
This is the Dark Knight thing of like you can flip a semi, which is not as big as like lifting a country in like Avengers 2. But if you do it real and you do it right, it feels so impactful.
Yeah.
Like those movies just become too bogged down, like what you were saying, Jacob, of just they don't build to anything. They just kind of just hit the ground at one note and just sustain that, and it can feel so numbing.
I think Mike brings up a good point. It's something I've been beating him about for a while, but he says, I'm of the opinion you don't need to spend more than $100 million on a film, no matter the IP.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, it depends on the cast as well. Like,
I mean, but that's kind of the point, though. Is I think that you could do a lot of these heavy films for $100 million easily.
Yeah,
but it's like, what's the budget on Last Jedi? Of like,
right?
It depends on the person using it. Of he fills the tank. He can fill the container with quality no matter how big it is, whereas some people just kind of get lost in it. I do think, and I haven't brought it up yet, there are some visual effects in this movie of like, and it's the same problem I have with Last Jedi, where one person in front of a green screen is a little noticeable.
Him getting up so angry. Look at him.
Oh, it's terrifying.
Rian Johnson.
Yeah. Special effects aren't the best at these moments.
There's a couple moments, but it still works.
He's much better at the tactile, like...
Broom Kid is goated.
And, and Evan was just canceled. Weird. Funny how...
okay, Taylor wins the internet. She used a Doctor Who gif in reply, so, you know.
I heard you did that.
You know, if you remade Die Hard now, and it was, Rian Johnson doing it, David Tennant as Hans Gruber.
Oh.
You know what? Die Hard in Rio would be really cool. Brazil, Rio. Remake it in a different location with the same idea.
Well, that's what Old Habits kind of is, to be honest.
That moment.
Where did they find this kid?
What is he doing now? Is this kid acting still? Do we know?
I think he was on a TV show.
Well, they said
on
Twin
Twin
Peaks.
Peaks.
Yeah.
He was just in Scoob. He's young Fred.
I know that. I watched it this morning.
The highlight of
Thanks for bringing that up.
Sorry, you asked what's he doing.
That's
his most recent thing.
Today.
Is he the kid? He wasn't. Is he the kid from Fuller House, or is that a different kid?
I think that's
Whatever happened to the predictability?
And this is why Bruce Willis is the Terminator. Of nothing will change his mind. He is on a
Yeah, he's on the warpath.
Well, because you have to think the only thing that he has ever loved in his life got taken away from him. The only source of happiness.
Yeah, but he's being selfish at this point.
Well, and this is a massive change for Emily.
I'm saying that's the character motivation,
Totally, I get it. But it just makes sense of like this Joseph Gordon-Levitt has this ability to have his heart change that is just so beautiful. Oh, the sound.
This whole shot too. Oh,
is that you?
Apparently, the kid is the voice of Boss Baby on the Netflix show.
Okay.
Oh, that makes sense. The Boss Baby TV show is better than the actual movie.
Okay, Evan, watch this part. You
So
need to.
here's
Right.
yeah.
This is the point of the movie, or else, because again, it's a loop.
It's poetic.
Yeah.
It's a western.
The way he decides to do that is so...
And Bruce Willis's look he gives.
Yeah.
They both knew love. And now it's over.
What?
A moment.
It just ends. You know, the movie starts where it ends, in a field with Joseph Gordon-Levitt killing somebody.
Mm-hmm. That's the loop.
By himself this time.
And just like it's the music, it just, and then, not to spoil anything, but it just pretty much ends here. Like, who cares what happened with the mob and like the city and everything? The movie wasn't about time travel. It was about this emotional story of you are not who you are predicted to be. You can change your history, your past, your future.
Well, and that's why the idea of the kid being the Rainmaker at the end of the day, like, it doesn't necessarily really matter because they change it. And you don't even have to overtly say that he is the Rainmaker.
No.
You know?
Could you imagine if Joe had a different gun in that idea versus the close range blaster that he had? Like,
Well,
if it was an
yeah.
actual like AR or something like that, it's a different movie.
Wow.
And now she has all this money, which she was promised if she would like reveal who Joe was to that
Right.
guy anyways.
Yep. So in a way, he set them up for life also. So now the kid will be raised well and loved.
But it's all about like, what are you willing to live with? And, you know, Joseph Gordon-Levitt gets the gift of seeing what his life will be based on the actions of kind of him in a way. And he's mature enough now to realize, I can't live with that. Let me fix that. He feels love in a different way, and that means not being selfish.
Nick can always get what you want.
So, Pat, to go back to what you asked earlier about how they could have gotten away with his wife's murder, at that point, the Rainmaker was in control of all of it. So, like, the police aren't any threat to the Rainmaker. That was just like...
Yeah, but then why is the system still in place of them sending people back in time? If, like...
all that was just on the brink of turning over, right?
True. No, it makes sense.
Like it kind of it kind of like happens in real time during the movie without us seeing a bit of it.
That checks out. Also, your point of like him having his hair brushed at that moment, ever since like the prostitute did that earlier, like that's a good.
So
observation.
that was the thing that I thought that they were going to go with, which was that Sid is Joe as well. And
wait, really?
The first time I watched it, that was where like they set it up. The mom playing with his hair, because Emily Blunt plays with Sid's hair in the movie. Like they get you actually get the visual storytelling of, oh, here's the foreshadowing of this is where it's going, and then it doesn't, which is good, and I'm so glad it doesn't. I would buy that more if they implied that Joseph Gordon-Levitt was not from that time. Like if they would have to like set that up of he's kind of out of his time. Maybe if Jeff Daniels was like, when I brought you back with me as a baby, I thought it would be fine. Yeah. Like, but I think that would be a very bad move if they decided to do that. And man, this font, good font.
No, it was. And I just, as always, I love to thank the chat for hanging out with us while we do the watch alongs and stuff. Like you guys are the best. And so talkative, and like the Bard showing up every week and Mike showing up every week. Kelly, like all you guys who keep showing up week in and week out, Ferris, always donating. You guys are the best, and we can't do this without you. So thank you guys, number one, for being here for Rian Johnson month. But I'm going to go around now. Jacob, you watched it and then you rewatched it. What are your thoughts now?
I still have slight issues. I still really don't like the voiceover. But I did enjoy it more this time than I did last week. I think it's one that definitely improves upon rewatching. And then watching, remembering again, like watching it in succession really helps it. I think it's a really good movie. I still probably would call this his weakest film, but that's not much saying really anything. I mean,
this is your weakest film in your filmography,
exactly.
I think that just shows how good Brothers Bloom and Brick are more than anything. So I still really enjoy it, and I'm glad we rewatched it.
Taylor?
So this was my second time watching it, since I did want to get a bit of a grasp on it before we all watched it together. And the first time I watched it, I really liked it a lot. Not as much as his other films that I had seen, which is all of them now. But there was just something to me that didn't connect as much as I wanted to. But watching it a second time, it flows so much better for me now that I don't have a million questions as to what's going on with the timeline. And just like the first time I watched it, I was so caught up in trying to understand where it was jumping to and trying to understand how, what the actual thread of the movie was, where it was going. And then once I knew where it was going, I was able to watch it this time and really appreciate just how beautifully made the whole film is.
Totally. Yeah. I love that. Ryan, we've revisited it. It made our top 13 of the decade. Still think it belongs there?
Oh, 100%. I don't really have any different or unique thoughts. The only way that I can think differently about Looper is I still haven't seen Brick to this day. So that was the one thing I regret not doing, is watching Brick and seeing where Rian Johnson came from and where his relationship with Joe Levitt flourished.
Right up your alley. Like, knowing what you like, Brick's right up your alley.
I hope so. I mean, I just, unfortunately, I didn't do that in time. I should have done the required reading, but I think there will be a day I watch Brick and watch Looper again. I will probably have a different take on it. But I mean, I still adore everything about it. It's like Exhibit A, PJ. You know how I feel about movies. I love if there's the Venn diagram of 4-quadrant stuff versus the thematic stuff. I love the center movies. I just think this is not only such a fun time travel film, but there's just so much heart and depth to it. And like I said, I remember the marketing. I remember not knowing what it was going to be or what it was going to be when I went into it. But it's just one of those things that I'll never forget how fond I was of my first viewing of that. So anyway, it was a great hang with you guys.
Yeah, man, I was glad that you were here and that you could bring that side to it. It's a lot of fun.
Shout out to the person who called me a prick in the chat.
Yeah, but he said you were cool for it, so that's great. Hogue, what are you thinking?
I was going into this one not certain if this was my favorite Rian Johnson movie or if Last Jedi was going to be, because I've definitely seen Last Jedi a lot more recently. But this really cements itself as my favorite Rian Johnson and one of my favorite movies. One, just it does a lot aesthetically that I just love. Like, Back to the Future is my favorite movie, so like you put time travel in a movie, you got me. But it really kind of, and especially seeing his films like leading up to this, it really shows that this guy really won't stop surprising you. If he makes he makes a film with as much thematic depth and intrigue as Brick and Brothers Bloom, but makes it that much more commercial without toning down the harshness of it. That scene of the guy being cut up as he's crawling to his own death is as terrifying as any horror movie I've seen recently. And this movie is the embodiment of cool. It is so cool, slick, and stylish, but to your point, Ryan, of just, it's got that heart at the center of it, and make sure that that is the tent pole that the movie is always following, and never getting distracted by, you know, the pomp and circumstance and the flash of the movie. That's there. That informs everything. And it just makes it that much more cool. But the confidence of Rian Johnson to say this is a story about generational kind of like hatred and love, and the tools that we use to express that changes over time, but those ideals are still the same. It's a film I would be honored to make, and I would want to make something like this one day. This film floors me every time.
It's just so awesome. And like you, I feel floored every time I watch it. It's been a little bit since I've really seen it until tonight. So I'm kind of glad that it was with you guys and really like taking it in, which leads us to the one man who had never seen it until tonight. Evan, what are your thoughts on Looper?
I thought it was kind of difficulty following along. Outside of a few questions here and there, I actually don't think it's like overtly complicated. I think it does a pretty good job of like keeping it as linear as possible. Granted, there's time travel in it, obviously. But it was
I just noticed real quick, sorry to interrupt you, Vince Gilligan got a special shout out in the credits.
Oh, really?
Breaking Bad?
Yeah, that just happened. I've never noticed that until just now. So I thought that was really cool.
But I think it's really emotional, especially like the thing that really sold it for me was the fact that the kid did not believe that Emily Blunt's character was his mother. And then what she would go and do for him. And then also after that scene where obviously they hook up and like you get the feeling that Joe falls in love with her, but not like to the point that he does, but just enough for like, I'm willing to break a timeline for her. And like, I'm already stuck in this rut of having to kill people every single day. I'm willing to kill myself for this better future. I think is a really interesting concept. I think it's really smart with how it deals with its characters. I think outside of you guys were right, a few action scenes were hit or miss, but I also think that's nearly purposeful because they didn't show the deaths, because it was like these deaths don't matter in the grand scheme of things. It's about this fucking kid. So yeah, a lot to break down. I think it's a really intriguing movie. I had a really good time watching it. It was almost fun trying to like figure out what the hell is going to happen next. It's a good film. Go movie is good movie. I also want to shout out Michael K for donating $13, saying thanks guys for an excellent watch along. Rian Johnson month has been a blast so far. We only have 2 films left, and I'm actually sad about that.
Yeah, but it's a good thing we've got other stuff coming along. So we've got that.
Oh, next month is gonna be fun, PJ.
But I'm really, really happy that we got to do this, and I'm really glad that we all got to enjoy Brick together, or not Brick, Looper. Brick also.
I mean, we did all get to enjoy Brick together.
Rian Johnson month. It's been a week. Yeah. So, at this point you can tell it's been a day. So I'm going to trying to get everyone out of here. I'm going to start with Ryan. Ryan, thank you again for being here. We're really glad to have you. You can come back anytime, my friend. I mean, it's not like you can't just literally pound on the door and get me to let you on the show. So.
I want nothing at all to do with next week. So you guys have fun.
Yeah, I don't really blame you for that. Where can everyone find you online?
Twitter and Instagram at WhatUpSnell. You guys can see the Movie House YouTube channel. I've been in the chat using that. Tomorrow, we are uploading, myself and PJ, talking about Capone. I almost went full John Campia, so please be sure to come check that out.
Wow. It's
just kidding.
A review.
Just kidding, because imagine me going full John Campia. No, come check out our review of Capone on the Movie House YouTube channel and the podcast feed. Would greatly appreciate it. Thank you all again.
Yeah, of course, man. And yes, please, guys, go check out our Capone review. It is it's a movie. It exists, and Ryan and I ended up talking about it for 40 minutes. We were like, we're going for the hard 30, and we talked a lot more about it than we were expecting to.
That's 10 minutes too long, PJ.
Kind of felt like it. All right, Jacob and Taylor in the Land Down Under. Where can everyone find you guys?
Well, you can find us on the Finally Tailored YouTube channel, where we will be doing a stream tomorrow.
Yep,
that I'm very, very excited for.
With these two gentlemen next to us, on that side, next to us, Pat and Pat. Doing our Tupperware of Destiny. I'm very much looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Everywhere else online, you can find me, Twitter, Instagram, at Finally Tailored, or at _ Finally Tailored, depending on where you're looking. But if you go to our YouTube channel, you can find all of our links there where you can find us.
Yeah. Awesome. We will see you guys on the next one. Thank you guys again for being here. Bye. All right, Mr. Canadian, who was hacked and is maybe not actually himself. Where can everyone find you online?
I just want to say, if you think that I got hot and bothered with Emily Blunt and just Gordon Levitt making out in this movie, wait until next week when a port shows up for the first time, because it's going to be damp.
Oh my God.
And we lost everybody. Weird.
Yep.
Yeah, no, you can now find me at Hogue_filmmaker everywhere. I just started a new Instagram today. I already got 70 followers from friends reaching out and everything. So that's my new life now. And if anybody's a lawyer and wants to represent me in court, please contact me. Twitter, same place. And check out my films on Vimeo. Just type in my name. I'm a filmmaker. I'm doing stuff. I'm writing things now. And my newest film, So, is on Crypt TV's YouTube channel, SCW. Check it out.
So good. So go check it out.
That's why I named it that.
Yes, bye. We'll see you Saturday night for Smash Bros.
Heck yeah.
All right, bud. Have a good night. All right. So that leaves Evan and I. But, Evan, before you go, I think we have an announcement. And I think Mike K might be happy about this.
Oh,
we're
gonna do it?
We're gonna do it. We got to do it because we got our watch along. Of course, next week you guys need to come back. We're doing the Last Jedi. It's happening. We're doing it.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting, to say the least, with how everyone reacts online. And I can't wait to talk about it because I adore this film, and I know that a lot of us here do too. But Monday night, we forgot to do a poll, but we decided since it's the summer season and our animated movies needed to be something kind of blockbustery, we figured what better way to celebrate the summer season right now, since we can't go to the theaters, than by doing a Steven Spielberg animated film, The Adventures of Tintin. That is going to be our Monday watch along. I'm super excited. I don't think this movie gets nearly enough love in the States, so I'm really excited. You haven't seen this one? Oh, this is interesting. It's got one of the greatest tracking shots of all time. And it's an action beat. And it's an action beat. Yeah, so it's freaking awesome. So I can't wait. And take us through the rest of the week again real quick, and let's get you out of here.
All right, so Saturday, we've talked about it's the Super Smash Bros. League. It's like a league that's going to last like a total of like 5 to 6 months. Something I'm really passionate about because I actually were like, I don't know, it's my favorite game, and that's right now because fuck FIFA. And I want to be able to share my love for it with everyone. So I'm like, let's gather a bunch of my friends in this space and let's put them all against each other in the pit of death. I hope PJ's been practicing. He probably hasn't been. I hope Pat's been practicing, but I've heard he's been on set. We're fucked, is what I'm hearing. And I'm just going to have to run all your asses over. So I'm excited. Actually, I'm generally really hyped for this. I don't know what's happening Sunday. There might be a PJ Campbell show.
There'll be something. We haven't really talked about it. I've been real busy with Schmodown work all week.
Yeah, I know. I've been too, which is why it took me literally until today to talk about the Smash League with everyone else and be like, here's what's happening. And then Monday, or the 10-10 watch along. And then Tuesday, we talked about how Pat's having issues with Facebook. I want to talk about someone who's probably the most knowledgeable about Facebook and community leadership in this bigger community, the film community in general. Jonathan Youngblood will be coming on to Famous Last Words. And I'm really, really excited about this one because it's someone who's just far enough away from our own little bubble where I can pop it a little bit, burst us, and be like, here's Jonathan Youngblood. They got opinions, and I hope you guys get to hear them. So, it's there. Perfect. Thank you, Chris. I'm super hyped for it. I think there's going to be a lot to break down. I think there's a really cool story there. I really did have to bother Johnny to get on this, but that's okay. And then Wednesday, Suddenly Soundtracks with Robert Meyer Burnett and Kristen Smith, Singing in the Rain. Shout out to Chris for changing the thumbnails while I'm talking about this. And then Thursday, your new show.
Yeah, our very first episode of Front Center Mezzanine with myself and Maxwell. And we are going to have a ton of fun with our very first guest, Preston Max Allen. I am excited to be bringing Broadway content to this channel because I want to give more love to the theater scene. So this is awesome.
And then the last thing, The Last Jedi. We're all going to cry, probably a little bit. Whether it's happy tears, sad tears, any types of tears, we're probably going to cry. So make sure you guys are there for that.
All right, Evan, where can everyone find you?
You guys can find me right there at Evan Degraff Live on Twitter. I have a new goal, PJ. I haven't told you about this. I want to get to 500 followers.
Real quick, I don't know if you're seeing this right now. He says Ryan Snelling's now in the chat. Can't wait to be interviewed by Evan on Famous Last Words.
Oh, fuck off, Snell. We'll figure it out. Maybe. Depends how I'm feeling. Depends how much wine I have in me, and we'll see what's happening. I'm really excited. But yeah, follow me on there, Evan Degraff Live on Twitter, and then Letterboxd, because review the movies really haphazardly. There, Evan Degraff, and yeah, that's kind of it. Love y'all. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.
All right, guys. And of course, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram over at PJ_Campbell. You can find me here pretty much every night hanging out with the usual gang of idiots. And I love them all very much. And thank you guys again for the continued support. You're all the best. And I look forward to seeing you Monday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever day it is. We're glad that you found the PJ Campbell Network. And I look forward to hanging out with you guys with whatever we do. So enjoy the rest of your week. Wash your hands, put on your mask, be smart, make good choices. We'll see you guys later.
I want to be so long. Farewell to you, my friend. Goodbye for now until we meet again. I said so long. Farewell to you, my friend. Goodbye for now until we meet again. Oh, it's been great to play and sing together in the box, and now it's time to say goodbye. Ooh, so long, farewell to you, my friend. Goodbye, oh, for now, until we meet again. Goodbye, for now, until we meet again.